This is the Broodcast, Inkling-style Discord chat, last Friday of every month. To join, visit joshuadavidling.com/brood. And now, Operation Broodcast on Poets at War.
We're lion, witch, and warded, yeah. Our imagination's running wild and free. In Middle Earth or Narnia, there's magic in what we believe.
I'm fine.
What's up, Alex?
Hello.
You here for the long haul tonight, or are you just here partially?
I'm here for at least a little while.
Sweet.
Cool.
Not here for a long time, but a fun time, or something like that. Some nonsense.
Yeah. I know, I could be here for a long time.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man, Joel is going to be here. I do know that. And he will be reading. So he'll be reading his stuff, and then at least that's what he told me. He canceled his event. So, and I've got myself and Marty to read. Are either of you guys reading?
I would, but I had no time this week. So
Okie doke, no big deal.
I can read. I can read my my article if
That's a
people
good idea.
want to hear that. But
I think you should.
But I don't have to.
I think you should.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Then I should probably stop trying to get my Final Cut downloaded.
Are you downloading?
Go finish up that
desktop or iPad?
desktop.
Gotcha.
I signed up for the free trial of Creator Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I've got Final Cut for another like 3 weeks.
The one major thing that's keeping me from doing that, because the price is very reasonable,
Really,
is especially if you do student, is the fact that you can't change. You can only go one direction with the what do you call it? The projects.
the iPad stuff.
Yeah, the projects. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't swap back and forth.
Mm.
Once they get that figured out.
I'm sure that there will eventually be parity there.
Yeah.
what program is this?
Final Cut Pro. Video editor.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did finally get the chance to stop by that coffee shop and get some writing done.
Sweet.
We added another 200 words. It wasn't a whole lot, but I had notes for work I had to do and ended up socializing and whatnot. So
Very nice. Very nice.
but better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for right now, it's a matter of trying to pace it out properly because it's a slow start to this book, and then it's just a matter of pacing and figuring out the right spot to up the ante.
Gotcha. So I figure we'll at least wait for Joel, and we'll see, how long that takes. If I don't see him in a few, I'll text him. Trying to think of what else is going on for me. One of the things I'm excited about is I'm getting my head wrapped around. I'm actually breaking out my Soapbox app, which has been a game maker that I've been working on. I'm breaking it out into individual parts where essentially the app in question. So, for example, there's a side-scrolling level builder app, okay, and there's a fighting game app, and so I'm breaking them out. But then I'm also bringing in sort of a main architecture for menus, for pausing, and for button remapping that I'm calling the spine. And so the spine can load all of the files that are made by these other apps into it and compile a final game. That's the idea anyway. So I'm starting to wrap my head around making the individual tools in order to make all different kinds of games. Did that make sense, or did that just fly over everybody's head?
Yep,
that makes sense.
I mean, I stood up for a second and blood loss, so it kind of flew over my head.
That's okay. If you want me to tell you, I will. But I want to see if Alex for sure knew or not.
Nope.
You're
That makes
making a
sense.
bunch of apps, and they're to do different aspects of game design. Is what they
Yes.
got.
Yes, and there's a spine app that basically brings them all together with menus, pause menus, and button remapping. And you can essentially bring in all these disparate elements into the spine app and compile the final game.
Okay. So how would the? Okay. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. It's just whenever you're saying app, it's not all in one thing. So I'm having trouble visualizing it a little bit, but that sounds cool.
Yeah. So, what's been up with you recently, Alex? You found this lecture series. Tell us about a little bit more about it, elucidate a little more, and pitch it to the people who you've kind of thrown it out to.
Oh, I mean, I was just looking for something to listen to in the Canon app, because I've been trying to stick to my listen to podcasts, listen to an audiobook, listen to Bible reading challenge, listen to music every day thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I needed a new lecture series, and I found this one, and it's really, really, really good. I really enjoy the Christchurch ministerial conferences. They've got a bunch of them in the app. The other one that I've super enjoyed is The Other Day Music Died, which is talking about the state of music in Western culture, specifically in relation to the church. It's super insightful and legitimately changed the way that I look at church music. Along with Doug's book, Church Music and the Other Kind. But this one has been really interesting because I've heard a lot of it before, but I think it's the most succinct explanation of the state of art in the cultural mind of the West at the moment, and how Christians ought to be interacting with that. So it came out in 2006, and so you've got a lot of interesting stuff about what was going on at that point in time. Doug talks about his as kids get older, loosen the reins more, run a despotate whenever they were younger, and then whenever they hit 16, okay, you can do whatever you want. We think we've trained you up well enough. And so you're free to go do whatever, that type of thing that I've heard before, but it's super interesting. Ken Myers, who's the guy who runs Mars Hill Audio, had an entire talk on film criticism, because he has his bachelor's is in literary, or his bachelor's is in entertainment. I think he has a bachelor's in some form of entertainment field, with an emphasis on film theory in criticism. And so he's talking about these different films that were out at the time and saying this is how Christians should look at that. This is how we should look at that. This is how we should be answering the questions. This is how we should be interacting with it, rather than just trying to create a Christian version of the crappy movie.
Right.
They talked about the Da Vinci Code and how all the Christian articles were saying it's a really good thriller, but there's these historical errors and XYZ. And all of the secular guys were saying, this is a really terrible book. This is a poorly written book. We shouldn't be paying attention to it. And just the issue with that Christians have no taste, that we haven't honed a taste for that back in 2006. It's just marvelous. Indy Wilson talks about a lot of the stuff that he would expound on in Notes from the Tilt-A-Whirl. It tells a couple of the stories in his talk, at least one of his talks. I haven't listened to his other talk, but it's just very, very good and very insightful. Who was it? I think Peter Lightheart talks about it's Nate. It's Nate. He talks about why prose and poetry are the highest art forms because they match, because they're falling in the more closely in the footsteps of God, and they have a closer tie to the imagination than any other art form, because you're directly tapping into the imagination rather than having to like work through interpretation or anything like that. Like words just exist. It's really, really interesting. So, as I said, like all of the artists in the Brood really need to listen to it because it is just wonderful.
That sounds right up my alley. Maybe the blood loss is actually helping me because I understood all of that, and that, wow, yes. I might have to take you up on your offer to borrow or get your password or whatever.
Do it, man. Oh.
Yeah.
I'll text you the password. But yeah, it's just very, very insightful. Peter Lightheart has a talk on the history of how Shakespeare became high culture and why Christians should view high culture as opposed to pop culture. Super interesting historically. Like Lightheart's a fantastic historian in general. And he really, really loves Shakespeare. But it's a great talk.
What's the name of the document or the talk again?
The Church and Pop Culture.
The Church and Pop Culture. It's the 2006 Christchurch Ministerial Conference.
That just sounds so cool. I love this denomination, man. I was talking to my Reformed Baptist brother, and he just does not understand art whatsoever. And he was yapping about how cool, like he said he preferred Doug Wilson's of this equation. You gotta
Doug Wilson's what?
He was going on and on about how much he liked Doug Wilson and blood loss, man. It's something. It's something. I might just need to shut up and listen tonight. Let me slow down. I was talking with my brother. Yeah, you're good. I was talking with my brother a couple days ago, and he was saying how he much like the way he thinks, he prefers bullet points over prose, and it just killed me. He doesn't have an appreciation for the arts. He doesn't understand poetry. He doesn't understand these things or their values. So having something like that to show him would be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Though if he's starting off from the perspective of not liking poetry, not liking prose, then you might need to start with like Knox Unplugged or something, because that will like that's a lot longer, but it will also show him in a more bullet pointy, like it's a conversation that's happening. And so he can pull the like bits and pieces from that. And if he's taking those to heart, he'll eventually understand, okay, even if I don't like it, this is important and I need to like it.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I'm trying to get at, because
Jesse leave?
Apparently bumped off for a second. I don't know why.
Weird.
We'll see. I'm sure I'll be back on.
No, It's just been something I've been trying to communicate with him. There is when you rely too heavily on bullet points, your argumentation becomes a lot less persuasive. And then if you can dress it up a little bit and have some life and beauty in the mix as well. Yeah, so between the two of us, he can provide the substance, and then I can help actually make it compelling.
Yeah.
So I texted Joel. We'll see if he can pop on in a minute. Jesse will likely be back in a few minutes, and maybe he needed to do something first and whatever. But yeah. So
I know I said I wouldn't read initially whenever I hopped on, but considering I don't know how many people here have actually listened or heard what I've gotten written down so far. Alex, would you be interested in hearing it? It's the opening of a Maiden's Child.
Sure, I think I've heard it.
It would also be good for you to just get some reps at reading it, you know?
Yeah, it would be. And Joshua helped with some of the prose, so I think it would be... Yeah, I'll go ahead and read it.
Yeah, you want to go first tonight?
I guess I can.
Yeah, that'd be good, so people can trickle in and hear it as you go.
Yeah. I had just learned that my hearing aids actually have speakers on them, so I'm standing in the other room of my phone and still able to talk to you guys, and it's just I'm so bewildered by it.
You might want to bring your phone a little bit closer to you because we are getting a little bit of interference.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just throughout like the conversation. It's just a little bit of interference.
I gotcha. It's probably picking up on the fan I got going and different stuff in the apartment. I'm just moving around trying to grab stuff and get my things together.
Sounds good. Alex, can I ask you very briefly / broadly if you think some of these things could be considered analogous or connected in some manner? Because I'm working on a thesis, but this is very vague at the moment.
Yeah, of course.
So truth, beauty, goodness is a thing that's been around as a threesome of things for a while now. Artists use them all the time. You know, when we work in threes and we're Christians, we're always looking at Trinity stuff. How do you feel with the mapping of truth, God the Father, goodness, God the Son, beauty, the Holy Spirit? In the abstract.
I don't think that that's helpful.
In the abstract, you don't think it's helpful at all?
Yeah, I don't think it's helpful at all.
Interesting.
Because I think there are way too many.
There's
way too many
sure.
counterexamples for all of them to say that there's like a clear mapping of one being predominant to either of the others.
Good to have you here, Brendan. How we doing? If you're there, if not, it's okay.
I exist.
You exist.
I am muted.
Are you reading tonight?
Reading what?
I don't know. An article or something? You don't have to.
I mean, I could read the article, but that's coming out in next month, I guess. Preview of coming attractions.
If you'd like to.
I'm not sure I want to start that fight here.
Okay, no problem.
What's the topic, if I may ask?
It is the title is on the discourse of empathy.
Hey there, Joel.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Joel.
Hey, Joel.
Why can't I see anyone?
I did not turn mine on.
Ugly.
My bad. I didn't turn mine on.
I didn't get my beauty sleep, so.
Thought it was something wrong with me.
I'm horribly backlit.
I think, yeah, let's backlit.
I'm actually remarkably well lit.
You are.
I actually
You're
have
so
to light right there,
lit.
so my
No need
glasses
to
are casting
glow,
a shadow.
Alex. No need to glow. Goodness.
Oh, I think Daniel's going to go
Okay,
first here in
so-
just a few minutes, and Jesse is likely going to be back on in a little bit, so we shall see. But it looks like it'll be a pretty full crowd tonight. What were you going to say, Joel?
I was gonna say, he looks like one of those pictures that you used to get done at Kmart or whatever. With his backdrop.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A Macy's J.C. Penney picture, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now you just need to pose awkwardly with Debbie.
I can pose awkwardly by myself.
I don't need everyone seeing my messy old apartment. I'm going to play with my devices real quick and get it set up so that my phone is my camera, but I can see things with my computer.
Sounds good.
You can be shut down.
I
did actually have a piece of visual art that I made that I can share.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
Oh, goodness.
Let me.
Maybe it's the blood loss, but I always have the worst case of imposter syndrome around you guys. But tonight, I really don't feel that because, like, I've actually been working and I actually have something to share.
Sweet. That's good.
Like, I actually feel good about what I have so far. I think I was talking to Joel a little bit about what I've been writing
Hey,
too.
Jesse's back. There he is.
Hey, Jesse.
Jesse, hi. Wow, tonight is really crowded. Okay, cool.
It is
cool.
poppin'.
Awesome.
Okay, visual art. Is this the one the one that you just posted here? The Canon Plus
Yes.
app logo, but you judged it up?
I liquid glassified it. Yes.
Nice. Very cool.
So I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just
So-
say.
Yeah, I contacted Canon and said, "Hey, I made this. I want your guys' app to be better than it is. You should have just install it into your app because it'd be great." And so
Yep.
hopefully they do that.
That would be
Who
good.
knows?
All right.
Because like
Oh,
the
why?
app's great.
Who
I
do we
just want them to be
come in?
Wow.
Ian, sweet. What's up, man?
You got a full roster tonight.
There's the fraying edges of sanity.
And then he just dies off screen.
Are you and Brendan gonna have to hot potato the brain cell?
No, I'm pretty sure that I've got it tonight.
Okay.
Sweet.
That just based on Brendan's expression, I think I have the brain cell right now.
Oh,
Getting
boy.
my
I feel like I should be insulted, but I'm too busy
Without
trying
brain
to find
cell?
something.
Too busy trying to find something.
I'm too busy trying
Okay.
to find something. Because like I have so many like old projects that I could like dig up.
Mm-hmm.
But like
Roll for necromancy.
Jesse and Ian, are you guys sharing tonight?
I might share a little.
Okay. Another one. Carrie, what's up, man?
Gosh dang, this is the
Wow.
most people we've had in a broodcast since like that one time I was at a
September
campground.
cast first started.
At least September. Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I actually, that's so cool. The last few times I've gotten on here to try to share anything, I've not really had an audience to share with. And
Well, you're
This is
first up when
cool.
you're ready, man.
cool. I'm trying to get stuff set up, but I might just go ahead and share what I got.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. I'm just going to preface this. I am working 2 jobs, so everything I have written so far is kind of very rough draft, but I'm getting things going, and yeah, we'll just go from there. Just credit to Joshua and Joel and all you guys so far who have helped me get things going. So
With confidence, sir.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Now sharing Daniel Reed.
The smell of salt water, the laughter of children, the calls of mothers and sisters chasing after them. Today was a good day. Today was a good day. At least Katira thought so. She determined to make her client see that. I really don't like my prose. It's fine. She was determined to make her
Just
client.
read through it, man.
Yep. Today was a good day. At least Katira thought so. She was determined to make her client, Safra, see that it was a good day, even if Safra was equally determined to deny it. Katira didn't need to be paid after all. Disappointing clients make for empty pockets. It should be said, Katira paused as she adjusted her grip on the young mother's arm. This wasn't my idea. Katira spoke softly before coughing violently. Too many patients. I need to slow down before I become a patient myself. She thought to herself. It was her idea. She lied. Could it be called? Yeah. And then interjecting with her thought again. I'm not made that clear enough, but it should be said. Katira paused as she adjusted her grip on the young mother's arm. This wasn't my idea. Katira spoke softly before coughing violently. Too many patients. I need to slow down before I become a patient myself. It was her idea. She lied. Could it be called lying if it's a really helpful one? Katira's mind drifted before returning to the present. She'd grown far too accustomed to bending the truth for her clients. She found far more success in surprise outings when they were planned ahead of time. I don't know what I was saying there. The women walked together at a comfortable pace through the garden. Katira supported Safra with a gentle hand on her back, holding her hand in hers. The lilies were blossoming at last. The smell of meats and spices floated through the air from the nearby market. Only more herbs, Katira thinks to herself. A sudden gasp drew Katira's attention back to the present. So Safra's breath became suddenly hitched and shallow. Let's take a break here, Katira said, failing to conceal her concern. Am I not employing you? I'm fine. We march on. I need a Duke's pie. Thanks, Aaron. That was him. Okay, I need a Duke's pie. What you need is rest. A sharp sting of heat and misery shot up Katira's arm. She pinched me. She actually pinched me. If she wasn't pregnant, Katira would have tripped her. Hell, she was carefully considering it. It's really dark. I don't like that. Yeah. She settled for a grim look. The women locked eyes for a brief moment. The sisters did not prepare me for you. I'm not sure that's possible. Safra gasped. You aren't bad. Come on now. We need to get into Brother Braun before he closes up shop. Katira forced herself to slow to a safer pace for Safra. She attempted to. I don't know what I was. That sentence didn't end properly. My bad. Katira forced herself to slow to a safer pace for Safra. That man press the wrong button. That man disturbs me. Why must we go to him? Safra squirmed. He is rose oil, sage, cayster, factor. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just making up spices and herbs and whatnot. He is rose oil.
Daniel,
sage.
stop interrupting yourself and read.
Yeah, trying. Thanks. He is rose oil, sage, cayster, factor. Things we need. In many things we do not. You just want to shop, Katira. I never said I didn't have ulterior motives, Katira chuckled. The women continued walking towards the market, breathing in tandem as they'd practiced for weeks up to this point. The sound of music grew louder. The smells of fresh meats and something sweet filled the air. Saphra's voice trailed off about something unimportant. Katira acknowledged her verbally, totally ignoring her in every other way that mattered. The sound of a heart and a man's voice drifted through the air, like a feather falling. Time slowed for a moment. Katira felt a sudden rush of embarrassment and shame flood her face. She knew the song. The voice was distant, but the tune was unmistakable. No. She knew that voice. It was deeper than she remembered. Liam. Oh, Liam. Why here? Not today. Katira adjusted her headscarf and returned her attention to the mother at her side. Saphra was staring now, obviously worried. A gentle hand touched Katira's shoulder. Are you all right, dear? No, I don't think I am. The honesty surprised Katira. No, I'm sorry. I'll be all right. Saphra's head tilted. The woman stood there for a moment in silence. You don't seem all right. You can tell me. That would hardly be appropriate. Saphra's expression shifted from concern to confusion, back to concern again. Katira winced. We really should get going. The noises from the market continued to grow louder as Katira began ushering Saphra to the stone archway. If we must, Saphra relented. A group of children ran past, a group of boys fighting with sticks. Their shoes clattered over the cobblestones. An older woman chased after the boys. A pair of young men haggled a merchant. A Rodarian woman with an elaborate assortment of green silks and gold jewelry tended to a handcrafted basket. The street had a slight curve to it. The woman followed it past the merchant booth. I'm forgetting to breathe. That's something I gotta work on.
Yep. Take your time.
The street had a slight curve to it. The women followed it past merchant booths. Another pair of men carried a basket. Saphra flinched as they dropped the goods over the ground. Apologies. Saphra flinched as they dropped the goods over the ground. Apologies, my ladies, the short man rasped. I can't do rasp. The short man rasped as he gathered what appeared to be a collection of small wooden game pieces. Katira bowed respectfully before ushering Saphra safely past the men. A child, a young girl, abruptly wiggled her way between Katira and Saphra. I didn't get you, she screamed. Her sentences missing as many syllables as she was missing teeth. The woman chuckled as they watched her chase after the two boys with swords. The boys attempted in vain to defend against her onslaught. Thwack! A small twig hit a boy squarely in the forehead. Hey, that's not fair, he whined. That is the point, she rasped. She croaked. The boys looked to the older girl with them, begging for help. You may need to run. You may need to start running, she replied with a shrug. Moments later, the women were swallowed up in the chatter of the bustling market. Some objectionable and oddly sweet smell wafted through the air. Katira attempted and failed to ignore it. She resorted to pulling her headscarf from its usual resting place to cover her face and mouth. Saphra, unfortunately, would have to endure on her own. The breathing, man, that's tricky. Thankfully, the smell was soon replaced by salted meats and overpriced perfumes. Katira struggled to fully appreciate the scene unfolding around her. Her mind was fully absorbed to tending the mother out of her side. and acquiring the items on her list. Safra did not have the same problem. She was fully engrossed in the pair of dueling boys, their wooden swords and scraped knees. The bakers in her booth kneading breads caught her attention next. She decided in that moment it was best to stop for pastries, mother's orders. She was eating for two, after all. Today was a good day. She had finally decided. Didn't you want the ones from Baker Tom? Katira asked. These have strawberries. So do... Shh. Safra placed a gentle finger on Katira's lips. These have strawberries. I will not be deterred. Katira rolled her eyes playfully. Cut to black and Flyak can add more.
Okay. One of the things that you're trying to do is get better at writing atmosphere in this, and I know that's a goal. There's not a lot of plot happening in this yet.
Yeah, not yet.
So just keep that in mind. Obviously, depends on the pacing of your entire piece. But I do like the atmosphere you've done. There's a few phrases or words that are a little repetitive, but you're working those out. And obviously, you know, we worked on this one a little bit. Other thoughts for Daniel? Also, good job trying again. The more you do, the better you'll get, you know? So keep that in mind. Anyway, other thoughts?
I had two notes I took. One was when you talked about it wasn't my idea, she said, and then you circle back to that paragraph later and said it was her idea, she lied. Now maybe it's you have it written in such a way that it makes sense, but listening to it, it sounds like she said it was her idea.
Right.
Like it was like quotation, it was her idea, quotation, she lied. And so it might say she had lied or something like that to explain that a little better.
Right. The idea I was trying to get at is like as a healthcare professional, a lot of times you try to plan things out in such a way for your clients that they think your idea was their idea all along. But it's just because you're trying to give them some agency. And it was just between session notes and trying to jot my ideas down.
I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying I think you could word that a little better so it would flow easier.
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling with.
The other thing I noticed was when they're going through the market and there's a smell and Katira covers her nose and the other lady just has to endure it. In my experience, pregnant ladies are very, very sensitive to smells. Because I have two kids, and my wife was extremely sensitive when she was pregnant, and my coworker was the same way. So maybe she could gag or grimace, or maybe Katira, knowing this, gives her the scarf or something. Because that stood out backwards to me.
Right. I want to say there's something there. Like, I almost think Safra, especially, she doesn't like to be doted on as much, and it's more just her character.
Okay. Then I would say she chose to endure instead of she would have to.
Yeah.
Better economy of words. Other thoughts from folks, if any?
Yeah.
For Daniel.
Thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, on a performance level, for speaking, you had said you struggle a little bit with breathing. Do you do a lot of singing by any chance?
Mostly just at church.
Gotcha. Try taking really, really deep breaths. Okay, just real quick, take a deep breath. Just show me what a deep breath for you looks like. All right. your shoulders moved. They shouldn't move. The thing that the thing that should move is your diaphragm. Just the diaphragm.
Yeah.
So as you're breathing, as you're taking those breaths in, it's basically like you're kind of trying to look like you're a pregnant lady a little bit. not full on, but you do want to kind of take enough of a breath so that your diaphragm fully expands, because that's how your lungs work. If you move your shoulders up, it actually squeezes your lungs. That can help a lot for getting deeper breaths, helps with singing, helps with speaking. And another note on the actual reading, being intentional with pauses is very important. A lot of people forget that they can actually wait whenever they're talking, because it can help invite somebody along. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. But no, I mean, I didn't have much else other than what everybody else has said so far. So that's all I've got on that.
I got you. I think my main question I kind of have for you guys is like, how long? Because the idea I had is I want to use this first chapter. I'm setting the scene. It's a very domestic, very cozy world that you live in, and I'm building up to, and I want to be able to hint at some of the larger things that are going on in the world, hint at the wars that are happening in a few regions over. They overhear the whispers of people who are talking about such things, and Katira is very like tactfully like, let's not, and kind of not trying to disturb the mother she's.
So what I heard is about 5 or 6 things. First of all, that's not something that you can't do. You can totally do 5 things, but what you need to do is actually list them out and then figure out what order makes the most sense for where you're going. So you need to build. Think of it like a playlist, right? You've got a playlist of these moments, these songs. You can think of them as songs, right? And you've got to have it build to what the next chapter is going to be, what the next playlist is going to be, what the next set is going to be. So you've got to ride the emotional wave. So write the things out, determine what those things make you feel, the war, etc., right? And determine what the order of emotions should be for the scene, and then decide what each thing should individually be within that scene, within that chapter. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just gotta spend more time with it is all.
Yep. And singing practice, kind of thing would help too, like Jesse said. So, okay. So, Steven, welcome.
That diaphragm breathing thing, by the way, is the best way that I have found to reliably get rid of hiccups.
Yes.
Because hiccups are a lack of oxygen. And so if you just force yourself to take deep breaths from the diaphragm, like my hiccups, ever since I realized that and put that together, I've never had a bout of hiccups that's lasted over 2 minutes.
That, and it sounds crazy, but a spoonful of sugar. I'm not even joking. Like just white sugar. That really helps.
I usually just hold my breath until I either pass out or the hiccups stop. And so far I haven't had to pass out.
Yeah, what's crazy is I've had a bout of hiccups. I've actually had a bout of hiccups that have lasted for so long. So I really got to practice that diaphragm breathing thing.
So could you imagine if the hiccups started in the middle of you reading your story? That would be terrible. You wouldn't be able to get anywhere.
That would also be flipping hilarious.
So Steven, welcome. I was gonna check and see, Steven, if you were wanting to share something tonight or if you're just hanging out. I'll always check with everybody who comes in. I know Abigail said she's probably in the background tonight. She's welcome to share if she wants, but she said she's mostly listening. So are you sharing anything, Steven? Not right now? Okay.
Wait, hang on.
Okay. Yes.
Hang on a minute. Are Steven and Jesse in the same room?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we are.
They're brothers.
Okay. I'm not hallucinating. All right, good. So Daniel,
Yeah, that's why I
flip it all around. So it wouldn't be
distracting. It's really distracting
because I keep getting the feedback. I'm going to mute you. Mute you on my end and mute me on your end.
How do I mute you? And can I do it in real life?
You're good. You're good. I'm gonna help with the technical issues.
Okay.
Okay. What was that, Ian?
Ian?
you need to be confident. Even if you are wrong, be confident in your wrongness.
Yes.
Just read it on through. Be confident. Believe in yourself. You are... Quite frankly, Daniel, the whole reason...
Oh, goodness.
The whole reason, Ian...
Give Jesse and his brother a sec.
The whole reason that I got as far as I have with independent writing is because I was literally too dumb to know that I shouldn't be as confident as I was.
Yep. Yep. When you're reading the ingredients,
it works, so I don't care.
When you're reading the ingredients, Aaron added in, be like, "Oh, you don't know what a Duke pie is?" To everyone else, right? You got to own that. So, anyway,
Duke pie is.
So we have a bunch of other people sharing tonight. Do we? I am sharing two things because one is from Marty Francom, who is not here tonight, and then my own World of Wrestling. We have Alex sharing an article. We have Ian sharing potentially something. You're still potential right now, correct, Ian?
I can share. Yeah, I do got something.
Okay, Brendan, I think is still necromancying up something. Potentially. Joel, you're reading for sure. I know you always do when you're here. Jesse, do you have something you're sharing?
Yes, but I might want to be later because it's probably going to invite a lot of debate.
Okay.
What are you planning on sharing?
Heck yeah.
I'm curious.
Well, you're going to be here, right?
I don't know. How interesting is it?
Relatively. Oh, wait, is everybody getting a bunch of echo from this whenever we're talking?
Yep. We're getting double audio, yeah.
You might want to consolidate onto a single computer if you can, but that's up to you.
That would be fine.
Alternatively, shut off one microphone.
I can do that on my end, but so everyone individually has control of that too. Okay. So, anyway, okay.
There we go. That should be better.
All right. So,
sorry, I didn't mean to derail. You're good.
Also, Carrie is not here currently. Okay, I was going to ask him if he was still here, but yeah, he's probably not sharing. Anyway,
no, he's driving. He's going to be back home at like 11 tonight.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So who wants to go next is the question.
I mean, I can go next.
Okay. Well, you have the floor then. Go for it, bro.
All right. So this is the double, triple, quadruple revised outline for Heart of the Stars. This is the final revised final version.
Version 2 of the final, anyway.
Finally.
Well, until the next version, which is final version, I mean it this time.
Ultimate version with Sriracha.
Final version. This time it's...
And then we'll come version 3.
Yes. Go ahead, Ian.
And then after all of that, we'll have final version 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
I was about to say the same thing!
Oh boy, I don't know.
What's taters, potatoes, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Anyway,
Alex and Jesse share a brain cell confirmed.
No, we share like 2 dozen. It's great.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Give me a moment. I gotta swap devices real quick, if that's okay.
Sounds good. Daniel.
Fool of a toque.
Anyway.
So, I have the new prologue like mostly written. And I can read that too if you want. In fact, I can start with that if you want.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
All right.
Raise a sword right through the cosmos. Name the star where no sane man walked before. Oh, the ink is still on fire. It will burn forevermore.
Now sharing Ian Wilson.
Prologue. Suppose the cosmic war began on a rather ordinary rainy day in April, just the sort of day that would prompt two 11-year-old boys to climb up the ladder into a dusty attic. It was the one place in his home that Eddie Small had not explored, and his friend Bucky was up for it, as was Fred the cat. A single window illuminated the attic with a pale light. Eddie searched the wall for a light switch. Upon finding one, he illuminated the mysterious attic and came face to face with horror. A spider hung from a web of silk. Web of silk, that's kind of redundant. In mid-air, inches from Eddie's face. The creature's legs spanned nearly the width of Eddie's hand. He was frozen with fear, heart beating, breath coming in shallow gasps as he stared at the unholy horror before him. If there was anything Eddie hated, it was spiders. "What's the matter?" asked Bucky. The boy then took notice of the eight-legged creature. Bucky grabbed the first thing that he could find, which happened to be a spear of all things, and tore down the web. The spider fell to the floor, where Fred chased it into some corner of the attic. Fred hated spiders as much or more than Eddie, though for very different reasons. Eddie breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank you." "You're scared of spiders?" asked Bucky. "I hate spiders," Eddie replied. "I don't care much for them myself," said Bucky, thinking of the scene in The Lord of the Rings where Samwise Gamgee killed this one such being. He smiled to himself, thinking that he was sort of like Eddie's Sam. The two now had a chance to actually look around the spacious attic. It was more like a museum. All around them were artifacts. Aside from the spear, there were a dozen other weapons. Several rifles, two with bayonets, a pair of revolvers, an assortment of machetes, a sword, a war club, a bow, and some arrows, and daggers. In one corner was a hat rack holding an old pith helmet, a campaign hat, and a leather jacket. The skull of a buffalo sat on an old table next to an assortment of primate skulls and bones, along with objects too strange for either boy to identify. Weird masks and beaded necklaces hung from hooks on the walls, and the occasional photo of a tall, thin man with a thick mustache posing in various locations. There was much more within the strange room, but I don't wish to bore you with excessive detail. This was all wondrous and strange to the boys. The perfect rainy day adventure. "Where did all this come from?" asked Bucky. "My great-great-uncle was an anthropologist," Eddie replied. "He went all over the world studying and exploring. He collected all this stuff." "Shouldn't this stuff be in a museum?" asked Bucky. "Probably," Eddie replied. "But for now, it's ours." There came a sudden mewing from Fred, who sat atop an old trunk in a far corner, almost out of sight. The boys approached the trunk as the cat slinked down the dusty floor. Everything good?
Yeah, we just had two people drop off. I don't know who right away. Brendan looks like one of them, but yeah, it's all good.
I'm just making sure my signal didn't die. Says it, DJ. The cat slinked down to the dusty floor. Eddie was all too eager to see the contents of this marvel. Unfortunately, the trunk was locked. "Rats," he muttered. Then he remembered the little key he stumbled across the previous day and fished it out of his pocket. Miraculously, it fit. Eddie opened the trunk with a feeling like one of the old explorers opening the sarcophagus of a pharaoh. Inside was a series of photographs, a revolver, an old and an old leather satchel. Eddie drew out the satchel immediately, as if drawn to it by a magnet. Opening the bag, he found a leather-bound notebook, some other supplies one would expect a scientist to carry, and something strange. It was small, about the size of Eddie's palm, and irregularly shaped. To call it a stone wouldn't really be accurate. But Eddie didn't have a proper name for whatever he held in his hand. It was at once dark and colorful. It seemed to change color based on how the light struck it. Sometimes blue, sometimes green, sometimes orange or red, even pink. Eddie and Bucky stared intently at it, turning it over and over. "What is it?" asked Bucky. "I don't know," said Eddie, in a sort of distant voice, like he'd been transported far away. The object had an otherworldly feeling to it, like it didn't belong to this place. And that's all I've written for the prologue for now. In fact, I might actually end it there. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What's that?
I was gonna say that's pretty good. You saying end your sharing there? You want to end sharing there? Is that what you're saying, or you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was really good. The spider foreshadow is so good.
I was going. Well, that was Joel's suggestion, actually. I was going to read you the rest of the outline as I've written it, but if you just want to comment on that prologue, that'd be good.
Yeah, what you guys got?
Whether you read the rest or not, I think we should have a comment break.
Okay.
I liked Eddie hated the spiders, but for different reasons. I like that the cat chased the spider and all that. And then you had mentioned last week that it was going to be a new house that they were moving into, possibly. And now is it an uncle? Is it?
Yeah, it's his great uncle's house that his father inherited.
Okay. So is he just
his great uncle? Yeah, they just moved into it recently. The great uncle is deceased, and they inherited the house.
Okay. So when don't step on the keyboard. When
there's a bug in the system and he's trying to get it out.
Yeah, really. When you say it was the only room in the house he hadn't explored, you could add new. It was the only place in his new house, so that it triggers that in the reader's mind that he's just moving in. That's why he doesn't know about this. But other than that, I thought it was great.
Oh, thank you.
I agree. I really enjoyed it. It did. Based off of what I've heard of the rest of it, it felt a little bit more expositional than you've gone for with the rest of it. Like just going through all the things that were in there. That's just a stylistic difference that I've noticed. Not saying it's bad, but it is something different that I haven't seen you do through the rest of Heart of the Stars that I've heard you read. Just throwing that out there as a point of note.
One of the things that struck me is how good the idea of, prologues are kind of to kick off the thematic elements and really kind of set you in the world. And I can't think of a better thing. Like, obviously, I think early versions you had them playing in the park right at the beginning, and they might still in chapter 1, I don't know. But the idea of going up into a creepy attic and checking out all the weird things that are there is really far more the tone that you've struck overall with everything that you've read. It's not just crazy, fun, wild, free. There's like real imminent danger, even if you can't put your finger on it yet. And I really, really like that. So I just wanted to point that out.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, Daniel.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
I like that the spider was right at the beginning. That's great foreshadowing.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to establish the fact from minute one that Eddie has severe arachnophobia.
Yep.
Because that's going to become vitally important in the rest of the book.
Yeah.
I mean,
This
even
grabbed me a lot.
I will just say, even with me being distracted by my tech failing me, I caught the spider foreshadowing, even just like, so it's very loud. It's hard to miss.
Yep. Very good.
Excellent.
Any other
It definitely.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I have one last thing.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me Spiderwick adjacent, like Spiderwick Chronicles adjacent.
Oh, heck yeah, you know Spiderwick Chronicles too.
What's up?
I said, oh, heck yeah, you know Spiderwick Chronicles too.
Yeah.
Well, I just figured old Victorian house in New England. Yeah, of course, there's going to be some Spiderwick Chronicles, and heck, there's some Lovecraft in there, for heaven's sake.
Yep. Fantastic.
Okay, I don't think I've ever met this many people who like Spiderwick Chronicles. We need to get together and do a Spiderwick Chronicle appreciation Poets at War.
There you go. That sounds good.
Or Spiderwick Chronicle themed TTRPG.
There you go. I was going to mention there's a little bit of with all of the specifically macabre elements, not necessarily macabre, that's not the right word. All of the dangerous elements that he's coming in contact with that have potentially dark histories, that reminds me for some reason of Poe without going full Poe as well. It's got that New England vibe that you're talking about. There's a very, very tiny amount of Poe sprinkled in. It's extremely New England, and I love it for that. So, yep.
I go on.
I'd love to hear the outline if they're cool with it. Go ahead, Jesse.
I have this is just going to be like one of the biggest pains in your side for this story is finding more words than spider and arachnid. It's really difficult to get a bunch of them.
So, okay,
Addercop. There's a few others, but it's
eight-legged freak.
Most of it is just really Latin. Yeah, most of it is just really Latin sounding names. So it's more like you need. Yeah, spider slurs is probably what you would need here.
Slurs.
I mean, they're okay. So far, I've got spider
arachnid. Those two segmented morons.
Eight-legged beasties.
Spider, arachnid, and eight-legged horror. That's about all I've got. There really isn't that many words for it.
Technically speaking, you have spider with a hard R, and then you could do spider.
Not hard R.
Just pointing that out.
You could totally do the snakes on a plane reference but with spiders at some point. Be like, these mother-loving snakes on this Monday to Friday plane, because they do like the TV made for TV version.
Arthropod is another word.
Ooh, yeah, arthropod.
What about web slingers?
Okay, that's a good one.
Web slingers, yeah.
What?
Web slingers.
If they're familiar with Spider-Man, yeah, it would make sense that they would call them web slingers.
Yep.
I mean, they're familiar with Star Wars, specifically Episode 3, so I would assume that they're familiar with Spider-Man.
The venomous something that I almost want to go alliterative with that. Venomous something that begins with V.
Well, they're also dark, correct? They're all black to dark. So you have all of all of your shadow words too that you can use.
You could have it where one of the characters gives them the name poisonous something, and one of them's like, actually, It's venom.
You could
venomous. They're
actually
venomous.
You could actually hang a lampshade on the entire thing and have them constantly throwing around like various things because they're tired of saying the word spider, and they're like, okay, now you're getting a little too far.
You can do venomous vermin.
That's actually a great idea for a scene. That's fantastic. Killing time on the spaceship.
Yep.
Killing time on the spaceship. That's what they should do. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be.
I
really
love that.
funny.
That's going in.
All right, you want to share the outline?
Continue. Okay, I'm just going to do it. Prologue: The discovery of the stone. We already read that one. Rainy day. Blah blah blah. Chapter 1. An odd evening. Eddie reads the journal that night. It is a story of his great-great-uncle Eustace, an anthropologist who visited a lost city in Asia. Eddie's parents have a discussion at the dinner table that covers the strange disappearances of stars throughout the galaxy, and Andrew's colleague, Dr. Stevenson, who has become obsessed with the mystery of dark matter. This becomes important. They play some board games, and Eddie and Andrew escort Bucky home, where we meet Bucky's horrible aunt and his insufferable cousin. So, basically what I'm doing here, and I wasn't even doing it consciously, but somebody else pointed this out. Eddie's life is really nice. Bucky's life is really bad. It's kind of a what do you call it? A study in contrast. Chapter 2, The Heart of the Stars. Eddie has been having nightmares about giant spiders since moving into... I'm going to have to fix that. Eddie awakes from another one of the nightmares. Eddie's father grants him a sword as a sort of protection thing. Eddie reads an entry in the journal detailing Eustace's discovery of the lost city of Akbar, where they discover a race of tall, long-lived humans who share tales of the Star Brothers and unusual knowledge of astronomy. The Akbarians take Eustace to their central temple, where there is a peculiar object they call the Heart of the Stars, which they have protected from demons of darkness for centuries. Eustace steals the heart and takes it back with him to Vermont. This was his first mistake. Chapter 3, Azariah. I tried to come up with interesting chapter titles. The boys go out to the park to play. Eddie tells Bucky about what he read in the journal. There they meet Thorwald Van Horn and his goons, who torment the boys and try to take the heart. They are rescued by Azariah, the wizard, who gives Eddie some cryptic warnings about the heart and the things that are about to occur. He warns Eddie about the spiders. Eddie and Bucky head home. All right. Chapter 4, Eddie's Long Day. Eddie has another dream about the spiders attacking him. He tells his parents. Andrew takes Eddie to the university, where he meets the entomologist and his spiders. Try and overcome his arachnophobia. It doesn't work. The same day, Dr. Stevenson is experimenting with dark matter. He stops Andrew and Eddie to tell them about his progress and how close he is to a great discovery. That afternoon, Eddie returns home and goes to play in the park with Bucky to discuss Eddie's time at the university. They are confronted by Thorwald, who beats Eddie up and steals the heart. Meanwhile, at the university, Dr. Stevenson tries another dark matter experiment, firing up his collider, which opens a space-time rift. The arachnoids emerge from the rift, attack Dr. Stevenson, and make him into their puppet. Chapter 5, The Stolen Heart and Other Things. Eddie and Bucky hatch a plan to retrieve the heart. They draft Bucky's cousin Anna to help them. Anna distracts Thorwald while the boys search the trailer. Thorwald lives in a trailer, by the way. Anna retrieves the heart, but they are surrounded by spiders. Chapter 6, An Awful Lot of Spiders. Dr. Stevenson comes to the Smalls' home, demanding Andrew hand over the heart. Andrew, of course, has no idea what he's talking about. Andrew can tell something is very wrong and refuses to let the professor in. They're at a standoff until Edith notices a huge spider crawling across the window and shrieks. Stevenson tries to force his way in, but Andrew wrestles him into a closet. Azariah comes to the rescue. Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, let me get the dog outside.
Killing the spiders and rescuing the Smalls. Azariah exercises Dr. Stevenson, rendering him sane. Azariah asks where Eddie is, but the Smalls don't know. Fred, however, does. Fred leads Azariah to the trailer park, and Azariah rescues the boys, giving them magic swords. They're overrun by spiders. They make a hasty retreat aboard Azariah's van, which is actually a starship. Chapter 7, Spiders Again. The starship's power converters burn out. They are adrift in space. Oh, I forgot to put that they actually took off. No matter, I know what they're doing. They are once again attacked by spiders. Azariah fights them off, cutting them free from the web they are caught in. Eddie shoots the spiders with a blaster cannon. They are quickly overwhelmed by the sheer number of spiders. There's a lot of spiders in this book. Just in time, a Drag starship appears and frees them from the web. The Drag, by the way, are flesh-eating reptile people. Not very nice.
So politicians.
Yes. Yes, that's where I got the idea. The ship takes them on board as prisoners. The Drag recognize Azariah and Fred as war criminals, quote unquote, and decide to take them back to their high command as trophies. Chapter 8, A Daring Escape. Azariah escapes from custody and rescues the boys. They fight a battle with the Drag, who try to keep them from escaping. The Drag ship is suddenly attacked by another ship, a pirate vessel, captained by Nyala Zeret, the princess of the Yaret Empire herself. The Drag conquered the Yaret Empire several years before this. So no, she's a princess without a country, basically. Chapter 9, Nyala Zeret recognizes Azariah as a great hero. She asks him where he was for the past several years since the conquest of Eret. Azariah explains that he was fighting the spiders and couldn't stop the Drag. The Drag have captured the crown of Eret and are holding it on their homeworld. Eddie and company must go to the Drag homeworld and recapture the crown. Oh, I forgot to put in why the crown is important. The crown has a jewel in it that is also part of the star engine that they need to put back together. I borrowed that from the Dark Crystal, basically. I forgot to explain all this stuff because I've written this out so many times that I forgot to put in those little details because I know them no matter. It's my outline. I can do what I want with it.
You're doing what I was doing. You're good.
Right. And that's all I've got so far. I have an ending in mind. They'll just, oh, hey, puppy. They sneak in past the Drag defenses, pretending to be a freighter. One of those, it's an old code, but it checks out sort of scene.
It's about to happen. They have a code. It's an older code.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they do. And then they have to sneak inside the royal palace, and they meet the Emperor of Drag, who's... Actually, I might go with an empress. I don't know, maybe they're a matriarchal society. What do you guys think? Emperor or empress?
That would fit the spider theme. That would fit the spider theme.
But
ooh, you're right. It would.
If they're matriarchal, it would fit the spider theme.
Oh, they're not spiders. These are reptiles.
Still, I think that would still fit.
Okay.
I would think
the book
King.
is focused on spiders as the enemy. So
yeah, the book is focused on spiders as the enemy, but the reptiles come in as like an additional obstacle. I thought maybe they were overkill to have 2 antagonists, but I also thought, heck, why not?
I would think for reptiles, whenever you think of a dragon, you usually think of a male figure. So it would make sense if it was a king. That way, it balances out that there's the spider queen.
Yeah.
I like the princess pirate.
Depends on what kind of species of lizard people you're going for, but you could have there's all female species of lizards that pretty much just produced by cloning themselves. All kinds of weird stuff out there.
Yeah, a lot of that happens in the tech space. Yeah.
Yeah. Life finds a way.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So
oh man, that would be awesome.
Spiderwick Chronicles, Phineas and Ferb. I'm sure there's a couple other, maybe some Adventures in Odyssey.
There's everything in there. He's been cramming all kinds of things in there for a while, which is why he's had to rewrite it several times.
Here's the thing. Everything that I thought was cool when I was 12 is going in this book.
Yep, that's the plan.
That's how writing should be. Exactly.
Really, yeah.
Yep.
So, anyway.
You will learn to love fairy tales again.
I will say, I think for whatever reason, I connected better with your plot outline, and that's probably just the way my brain works. You give me a long form narrative, it's going to go out the window. You give me a plot line, give me a plot. Yeah.
Yep. Got to work on it both directions for sure. So okay. I think if everyone's cool with it, I'm going to do Marty Francom's next, get that out of the way. And who wants to be up after him?
The last thing for Ian.
Yeah.
Entomology is
for me.
Oh, gotcha. I was going to say entomology is the broader study of insects and creepy crawlies and whatnot. But arachnology is the very specific study of spiders. So if the guy was just an entomologist and he had some spiders on the sides, very different. But if you want him to be like specifically spiders, anyway, that's just pedantics.
See, here's the thing. Most universities don't have an arachnology department. It's extremely rare, but pretty much all the universities that I can name around here anyway have an entomology department, and spiders would go under their purview.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So that I hear what you're saying, but also no.
No, I was saying like if it's part of a broader program, then it would be entomology, especially if it's a small town.
Yep.
It's not. Burlington is not a small town, but it's not big enough to have a university that has all those departments.
Yep.
Just a small town spider invasion.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
I'll go after you do the other one.
Okay, you'll go after Marty Francom's. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get to this one. Are you sticking around for a few, Ian?
No, I gotta shower and get ready for bed.
All right. Well, we love you, man. Hang in there and listen to the rest of the Broodcast next Friday. All right.
All right. See you around, guys.
We'll see you, man. All right. Okay. So this is a book that Marty Francom kind of he used some AI stuff and also wrote it from notes and played with it and whatever else. But then he actually rewrote recently, and I'm reading it for him for Audible. And it is
Josh.
a lot better. Yeah. What's up?
I'm getting a lot of weird feedback from your mic.
Feedback? What do you mean by feedback? Clippiness?
I'm not getting any.
Are you saying it's hot? Check 1 2. Maybe. Mic check test 1 2 3.
That might be better.
Okay. One of the things you can do as well one of the things too in Discord that you can do if need be is right click the general, me, and you can actually independently control my volume there. So if it's too loud and kind of clipping and distorting, you can bring it down a little bit, and that might help. Just throwing that one out there.
Now I am getting some artifacting on your end. Sounds like, but it sounds like internet issues, like just low bit rate.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I have anything that is immediately messing with it. I don't see anything on OBS. I'll slow down a little bit if that helps.
No, I mean, like if it's not going to affect the recording, then I'm getting enough to get what you're saying. It's just like, yeah.
It could be internet choppy. I'm not sure.
It's like listening to somebody read with hiccups.
Okay.
Maybe I'm weird, but I don't have an issue. But
okay,
I'm just either way.
Yeah, either way.
There has been a vote, and I can read a little thing.
Sweet.
So
fantastic.
With my back to you. See how it is, Jeff.
We can probably slot you in after Joel, but we'll come to that. We'll burn that bridge when we come to it, as you're fond of saying. I think it was you who started using that over me. Anyway, all right. So this is a Civil War story. It starts out as a Civil War story, then kind of goes into Mark Twain territory a little bit with various things happening to the main character and the aftermath of the war. How we doing? Carrie, you're back. So yes. The story is just setting up to where we're at. I'm just going to read a chunk of a chapter. We have two brothers, the Kane brothers, Virgil and Samuel. Virgil is the first person narrator, and Samuel is his little brother. They join the Confederate side of the war, and they have a cousin, George, who is on the Union side of the war. Things have been getting really bad for the Confederates, and the Confederate crew under Samuel's command, a little later, once they've started losing most of their commanders and such, is trying to sneak into a camp and disrupt intel and communications as kind of a last-ditch effort toward the end of the war. So I'm just going to start with George. It's Samuel. It's Virgil's perspective on the events afterwards. Okay, so Virgil is the first person narrator of the whole story. He's not directly involved. I'm going to read it just like I do in his audiobook with all the voices and whatever else. So George is the cousin in the Union Army. Samuel is the brother of the narrator. So we'll go from there.
There's an empty chair and a gray coat waiting. I said to place, but I eat alone.
Now sharing, Marty Francom.
George Washington Harris had set the trap himself. They'd captured a Confederate scout 2 days before, and under interrogation, George didn't like to think too much about what that interrogation involved. They'd learned about Wheeler's raiders operating in the area, learned about their target, Sheridan's headquarters. It had been George's idea to let them come, set up the Gatling guns in hidden positions, evacuate the real headquarters to a farm 2 miles away, leave the tent as bait. wait for the rebels to take it. He'd argued with Colonel Thompson about it, said it felt too much like murder, but Thompson had pointed out that war was murder, dressed up in pretty words and fancy uniforms. And this way they'd eliminate a dangerous raiding party without losing a single Union soldier. George had agreed because that's what soldiers do. They follow orders, even when their conscience screams otherwise. Now, standing on that hill, watching the ambush unfold, hearing the Gatling guns tear through flesh and bone, he felt sick to his stomach. This wasn't war. This was slaughter. When the guns finally stopped, when the smoke cleared enough to see, the ground around that tent was carpeted with gray. Bodies twisted in death, blood soaking into Carolina dirt. Maybe 15 Confederates had attacked. George counted 11 bodies. The rest had either escaped or were wounded somewhere in the darkness. "Sir," Sergeant O'Brien said beside him, "should we send men to check for survivors?" George nodded, not trusting his voice. This was victory, he told himself. This was what they'd come here to do. To break the Confederate will to fight, end this war. But it didn't feel like victory. It felt like sin. He made his way down the hill as soldiers moved among the bodies, checking for signs of life. Most was already gone. A few groaned, clutched at wounds that would kill them in minutes or hours. The surgeons would do what they could, but nobody held much hope. George walked over toward the tent, or what was left of it, shredded now like paper in a storm. That's when he saw movement. Just a shadow at first, barely visible in the dim light. Then he realized it was a man, crawling on his belly, leaving a dark trail behind him. Without thinking, training took over. George drew his pistol. A wounded enemy was still an enemy, still dangerous. "Hold it right there," he commanded, moving closer. The figure kept crawling, slow, determined, pulling himself forward on it with his hands. George could hear him groaning with the effort, could see how much blood he was losing. The man wasn't going to make it 10 more feet, much less escape. Still, orders was orders. George raised his pistol, aimed at the crawling figure. "I said hold it!" The man didn't stop. George fired. The bullet took him in the back, between the shoulder blades. The figure jerked, went still, then slowly rolled over onto his side. George walked closer, keeping his pistol ready, boots squelching in the muddy, blood-soaked ground. He'd done this 100 times before, checked a body to make sure it was really dead, searched for intelligence, moved on to the next one. But something made him look closer this time. Maybe it was the way the moonlight caught the man's face. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was God's cruel sense of humor. He knelt beside the body, turned it gently onto its back, and his whole world stopped. The face staring up at him, pale in the moonlight, was Samuel Kane's, his cousin. The boy he'd spent summers with back in Tennessee. The kid who'd followed him around like a puppy, who'd laughed at his Boston accent, who'd sworn on a jar of lightning bugs to keep the secret about smoking rabbit tobacco. The boy he'd just killed. "No," George whispered, and his voice broke on the word. "No, no, no!" He dropped his pistol, grabbed Samuel's shoulders with both hands. Samuel, can you hear me? It's George, it's your cousin George." Samuel's eyes fluttered open. They was glazed with pain and shock, but somewhere deep there was still recognition. His lips moved, forming words George had leaned close to hear. "George?" "I'm here, right here." Tears were streaming down George's face now, not even caring who saw. "I'm sorry. I didn't know it was you. I didn't know." "It's all right," Samuel whispered, and somehow, God help him, he managed a small smile. "You was doing your duty, same as me." "This wasn't duty, this was murder. We set a trap, Samuel. We knew you was coming and we set a gosh darn trap. I'm censoring there. Still would have done the same if positions was reversed. Samuel coughed, and blood flecked his lips. I swore, ain't it? Brothers, killing brothers. George wanted to scream, wanted to take it all back, wanted to undo every choice that had led to this moment, but you can't undo bullets, can't take back death. Tell me what to do, he begged. Tell me how to fix this. Samuel's hand found his, gripped it with surprising strength. Can't fix it. What's done is done. He coughed again, harder this time. Just promise me something. Anything, I swear it. When this is over. Samuel's voice was fading now, each word an effort. Make peace with Virgil, with my family. Tell him I loved him. Tell him I was thinking of home at the end. I will. I promise. And George, Samuel's grip tightened one last time. You can't raise the cane back up when it's in the field. You understand? George didn't. Not really. But he nodded anyway. I understand. Samuel smiled. Just a ghost of the grin George remembered from those golden summers. Good. That's good. His eyes drifted closed. His hand went slack in George's. And just like that, he was gone. George sat there for a long time, holding his dead cousin's hand, rocking back and forth like a child. Around him, soldiers moved and talked and did their duties, but he heard none of it. All he heard was his own heart breaking, the sound of innocence dying, the death rattle of everything he once believed was right and good. He'd killed his own blood, his own family, and no amount of uniforms or flags or causes could ever make that right. Finally, Sergeant O'Brien came and gently pulled him to his feet. Sir, are you wounded? Yes, George said, though there wasn't a mark on him. Yes, I'm wounded. They buried the Confederate dead the next morning in a mass grave at the edge of the plantation. George made sure Samuel was buried separate, marked his grave with a cross made from fence planks, carved his name into the wood itself. Sergeant Samuel Kane, Tennessee Rangers, CSA, beloved son and brother. Before they marched out, George knelt at the grave and made two promises. First, that he'd find Virgil after the war and tell him how Samuel died, tell him the truth, no matter how much it hurt. Second, that he'd spend the rest of his life trying to atone for this, for killing family, for the sin that no amount of prayer could ever wash away. He kept both promises, though the first one nearly killed him and the second one haunts him still. But that's a story for another telling. So that's where I'll stop this chapter. That was a good chunk of chapter 6. There's like 38, I want to say, chapters, something like that. So this is kind of an inciting incident toward the end of Act 1, to give you context.
What year does this take place in?
That chapter specifically says, I just closed it. I'm pulling it back up, but it's toward the very end of the war.
Okay.
Let me see here, pulling it back up. Chapter 6.
It struck me as odd that this was that there were Gatling guns being used.
Those definitely
they
existed.
did exist. They were used very limitedly, as in like we know of 2 people. Like we can for sure say that 2 times they were used in the war.
Right.
One was during the
early spring 1865 is when. Yeah, early spring 1865 is when this particular chapter says it takes place.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they were used around. They were deployed around Petersburg in 1864 by Benjamin Butler, and then some were used to defend DC.
Okay,
and that's we know that was used.
Got
it just struck me as odd, and if it was early in the war, then that would be anachronistic.
Yeah,
it's not impossible. It's just odd.
Yeah. Okay. Other thoughts?
Have you ever read the short story "The Sniper" by Liam LaFlaherty?
I have not. No,
mispronouncing his last name. It's very similar. Now, obviously, I mean, this is obviously a story based in the Civil War, where it was very real that you could be fighting your cousin. In some cases, maybe even a brother on opposite sides of the war. But there's a short story about a more modern day Civil War in America, where two snipers get into a fight where they're just trading rounds back and forth between parapets on top of buildings, and eventually, the main character shoots the other one, goes to check the body, and realizes that it's his dead brother. He just shot him. And it gives a lot of that, but this is a lot more of an emotional punch for a larger narrative, I'm sure. Which it's just cool because I immediately remembered this other short story from years back, and I was like, oh, I remember liking that. It's kind of it's the same same bit right there.
Yep.
Scratches the same itch, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
That's heavy.
Yes, it was very heavy. I chose one of the better portions toward the beginning of the book to read, and I also
did a great job with the voice.
Thank you. I had a lot of practice because I the first 2 times I recorded it for the book, I ended up having to re-record it because I messed something up on my tech end, and reading that is so emotionally draining. I was like, I'm not doing this again today.
You did really well. I was able to distinguish each character even without having the narration tell it. It was really good.
That's good. Thank you.
Other than that, though, the actual text itself, that was good. That read very well.
Yeah,
very well polished.
Yeah, I will just say,
go ahead.
Your performance, Joshua. I'm taking it.
I heard most of that. Thank you, Daniel. So yeah, what are you looking at, Alex? You look shocked.
Backer kit. So Brandon Sanderson is launching a new Kickstarter like 3 days from now. And I made the mistake of going on Backer Kit, the homepage. And there's a bunch of RPG stuff because that's what I've looked at here in the past.
Yeah.
And then there's one called Periodic Pinups. It's all of the elements of the periodic table as pinup models.
That's so ridiculous.
What did I just come back to? What?
Just Alex finding weird stuff on the internet.
Okay.
Anyway.
I've thought this for a while, but this confirms it even more.
Take back the ground. Anyway, so is there a way to defund something on Backer Kit anyway?
I will match all of the $4,000 that you have garnered to stop.
Nice. Oh, boy.
It has 84 backers, and it has gotten $4,500 of its $1,000 goal.
Nice.
What? I missed something. What is this?
There's hope for us after all, boys. Anyway.
Don't ask, Daniel. You don't want to know.
That's what I'm gathering. That's what I'm gathering.
All right. So any other words for Marty before we go to Joel? Because he's going to listen to this.
It was good. And yeah, just really heavy.
Yeah.
Really
totally.
heavy.
Yep.
It might be that your reading is just very good at masking it, but I wasn't able to notice any particular sections that were like, oh yeah, that was AI.
Yeah, he did a great job rewriting this thing. Honestly, like I'm thoroughly enjoying reading this and far more into the characters this time around. So, one other voice that I'm doing for it that I'm really fond of, I'll just mention since y'all were talking on the voice stuff. There's a character later on who sort of becomes Virgil's found brother in a lot of ways, and it's a big black guy named Tiny who is in the CSA. He talk like this, boss. He's you right here. And it's a fun voice to do. And it fits right in with everything else that I'm doing. Hey there, Virgil. You know, so it's a fun voice to do. So he's very warm. I like him as a character. So yeah.
Right on.
Yep.
Speaking of Gatling guns, does anybody know why the Gatling gun was invented?
To
shoot lots of bullets really fast since it's a rapid succession.
Yeah, well, yes, but the philosophy behind it is really funny.
It was supposed to scare everyone.
Yeah, basically, yeah. There was a guy named Richard Gatling, and he kind of the main he noticed something. The main way that people die in war is sickness and disease, and you can't really get around that. That's even in World War One. You figure that out with if you get trench foot, your foot rots off, right? And this happened a lot in the Civil War too. So his idea was, well, surgeons can't fix a disease, but what they can fix are bullet holes. So maybe if I use this this mechanism that I'm using for seed planting in fields and attach it to a bunch of guns, more bullets will go downfield, which means we'll need less men fighting our wars. Therefore, less men will have to die to diseases, and the surgeons can patch up the bullet holes. That didn't work out that way, but it's interesting that was the original philosophy. Because then you have mechanized warfare later on with World War One, and it's just like terrible. But anyway, that's just an interesting bit of knowledge.
That's just a nice philosophy thing he said.
And that
he was just ready to shoot guns faster.
All right, Joel, you have the floor if no one else has anything for Marty.
Going once, going twice. All right. So last time we were going through the rescue, and it was Kira and Booster in mech suits, and Starlet was remoting one, and there was some confusion about who was who. So I figured I should recap about that. Zoe was the woman that was saved by Fox, and she is physically currently with Starlet in the war room, watching over Starlet's shoulder. Starlet is remoting one of the mechs. The idea was you bring in an empty mech, you lay it down, you put the wounded in the mech, and then you remote it back out. That's the evac plan. Like you said last time, Josh, Kira was Fox's handler. She's been mentally linked with Fox since she was 13. So she's very, very close to him. And that's why she's very emotional now. Daniel last time kept saying he wanted to feel a cost to this. And the whole chapter right before that was Starlet's cost, which he missed. But that's where she's the implant in her brain that she's using to remote the mech, work Fox's implants, work Kira's implants, and everything else was starting to overheat. And which, if something's overheating in your brain, that could do brain damage. But I really like that. So I added in a little bit of Kira getting fatigued really, really badly. But the second part of the chapter, because remember you stopped in the middle, deals with the cost. And she just crashes. So catching everyone else who wasn't here back up. So these mechs went into the city, got Fox, who was injured. There was a newswoman and her camera crew that they got onto the Planet Runner, which is like a helicopter. And the other human was Hammer. Hammer is like Fox and Kit, where he's been with the aliens, he's augmented. He just hasn't been in the forefront of the story very much. So the other people that are in this scene are Charlie team. That's Tiffany and Cooper, and they are working the evac station that's right next to the mouth of one of the tunnels leading out of the city. And that's where everything started. The helicopter crashed and knocked down the force field that they had set up blocking the tunnel, keeping the zombies on the island. The island of Manhattan, for those who didn't know where the story is taking place. So, I'm picking up, they just got on the Planet Runner. And the news lady is being pushy. But Hammer just jumped back out. And this is where we pick up.
Now sharing Joel Stanley.
Hammer landed on the roof of the portable med station behind Tiffany and Cooper. "Are you all right, my friends?" he asked. 10-4, ready for more, Tiff said without turning from her targets. He jumped to the ground and dashed to the nearest force field post. "Is no good," he muttered, grabbing the pole. They turned off at his touch. Detaching them with practiced fingers, he hurried to set them up on either side of the tunnel. Above, the Planet Runner hovered, lowering itself until the door was level with the roof of the med station. All right is here," Cooper called down the ladder. "Let's get in and don't ask questions." Hammer activated the force field over the mouth of the tunnel and jumped to the roof. With one last look around, he followed the others onto the craft. The Planet Runner soared, lifting to the top of the buildings. "Mr. Kit, do you have a comment about this?" the news lady begged. Kit was keeping her away from Fox and Kira, refusing to answer any of her questions. Hammer looked at his captain, still leaning over her dying charge. "Let me know when he is awake." She looked up at his soft voice. "Kira, he will awake. It will be fine." She gave him a weak smile. And now here's where I have a question for you guys. Because I have a format question. He's going to say a phrase in Russian. And my question is, should I write it in Russian or should I write it in English and say he said it in Russian?
Audience, that's an audience question.
Write it in Russian.
Yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
I would say write it in Russian and then have it in parentheses, that is, and then the English translation. Kind of like I think a lot of scripture passages do that, where it's like this place that is the place that God made this covenant, right? That way, you might feel a little more immersed. But
I think Russian. Writing it out in Russian. I don't think. Well, here's the thing. Would they know what it means?
Kira would.
She would. Okay, but who is the perspective from? Is this, like, you could say third person omniscient. What you could do is you could italicize the sentence in English and then put the tag he said in Russian afterward. So that cues the audience in that if it's in italics, it's in a different language, in this case, Russian.
I'm already using italics for the telepathic communication.
Right. Okay, so you can't do that. Then
I could just say it. He said it in Russian.
I mean, you could, but again, I don't know. I personally prefer seeing the Russian phrase, and then if I have to, then having it translate if necessary, like be translated if necessary by characters. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I'm kind of with him. I think that you should definitely have the Russian phrase there.
Yeah. I think the audience should be like, don't talk down to them to the extent, like go ahead and put it in Russian, and the meaning could be inferred by the dialogue after, and we can look it up if needed. And it'd be a fun little Easter egg.
Maybe something you just don't even expound upon in the text, and let the reader come to their own conclusions or do their own research.
I feel like your audience would be smart enough that they would feel appreciative of that to not translate it. But the question is, how important is the meaning to the understanding? Are they going to miss a whole lot?
So what he says is, "Forgive me." What he says is, "Forgive me, I must go." Mm-hmm. But the Russian phrase is, I can't pronounce it right, but it's a very emotional. I really, really want to stay with you through this difficult thing, but I really have to go.
Okay.
Type thing. It's not just saying bye or anything like that. And then he jumps, and then he's out of the seat.
I feel like the meaning of that could almost be understood and felt
simply by it being Russian.
Yeah, like if someone were to say something to me that emphatically and my hearing aids were not working for whatever reason, I feel like I could still more or less get what you were saying.
Yeah.
It may require a little bit more description of like the torn emotions of his face or something like that. But yeah, I think just the Russian phrase and the fact that he then jumps should be enough.
Right. I was thinking he's being super sincere, which means he's dropping back into his own language because that's where he's the most comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sincerely, comma, and torn, comma, he said.
There you go.
Yeah, you could even just leave it said, like just have the Russian phrase, and then later on someone asks, is it Kira that knows what he's saying? Like it could be brought up later. It could be just brought up later by another character. This is what he said.
Yeah. It's not that desperately important, but I was just curious from a formatting standpoint, which would be appropriate.
Yeah. Well, you can continue.
All right, moving on. Kira, do you have any comments for the people of New York? The reporter blurted. Pushing past Booster, she froze as she looked at Kira's face. Whoa.
Sorry, I forgot.
My wife dropped something off the table onto a sleeping cat and spazzed out and scared me. All right. You're an alien, she stammered, her voice raising several octaves. Her eyes widened as her mind changed gears. I'm here with an exclusive first contact with an alien race, she said into her camera phone. Kira, why have you come to Earth? Is this zombie outbreak the work of your people? Tiffany grabbed her arm and jerked her back to her seat. Why have I come? I am here to save you. We did not cause this. Kira stomped over to her, pointing at her champion with large sweeps of her mechanical arms. We came to stop it. We are here because these men have made a deal with us. They have been living in exile, helping us fight for decades. And his first day back, this happens to him because you could not keep your craft outside the city as you were told. Kimwa Ratala. Kit's gentle voice brought her back. We got him. Don't let his sacrifice be for nothing because you screw up first contact. She took a step back, considering his words. Tiffany's grip tightened on the news lady, warning her to keep her mouth shut. You owe him a life debt, Kira pointed an accusing finger at the lady. You better start thinking of how to pay that. She turned around. Tony, get me out of this, she barked, then added softer. Please. Yes, ma'am, Captain. Tony jumped to her aid. Was she serious about that? The reporter asked Kit. Oh, yeah. They take those things dead serious. You could start by putting down the camera. This is kind of a sensitive moment. As Tony freed the purple alien from her suit, Kira knelt over Fox's unconscious body. Burns covered most of his torso and arms. Burns covered most of his torso, his arms and legs had dozens of bites and scratches. She held his face close against her wet cheek and whispered to him in Sepwanian. With a deep breath, she began cutting away his burnt and broken armor. With Kit and Tony's help, she moved him to a stretcher, where she sat with him for the rest of the short flight back. Kit took her hand as she looked up at him. He pressed his cheek to hers in the starry custom and linked his mind with hers. He felt Starlet and immediately knew something was wrong. Starlet, you've stretched yourself too thin. We got him. He's safe now. Let me take her before you go too far, he thought to her. Through Starlet, he sensed another presence, but he couldn't identify it before she disconnected. As he rubbed Kira's cheek, he saw flashes of memories in her mind, of Starlet being hugged by Zoe and himself holding Samantha. Knowing his alien friend was craving comfort, he wrapped his arms and wings around her and pulled her head on his shoulders. Rocking softly, Kit opened her boost levels. Starlet had set everything back to normal, but the history report told him that Kira had maxed out every single one during the fight. He instructed the nanites to begin removing the extra stimulants from her bloodstream. He held her tightly as the chemical-fueled adrenaline rush was purged from her system, leaving her shaking uncontrollably. You did it, Kira. You saved him. He's safe. He soothed her. Through their connection, he gave her strength and continued to hold her until they were about to land. After laying her mech down, Starlet shut off her holoscreen. She made a few more adjustments to Kira, then clicked out of that screen as well. Zifcon slapped her back, barking a congratulation. She didn't hear it. She looked up at Zoe, who'd been chewing on her fingers. I hope we got to him in time, she broadcast, a wave of fear and sorrow accompanying her message. As well as tears welling up in her multicolor eyes. Starlet stood up and nearly fell. Zoe wrapped her arms around her new friend, holding her close. Starlet buried her face in Zoe's neck and sobbed as she released all the emotions from the past few minutes. Happy she could be a comfort for her new friend, Zoe stroked Starlet's head and pulled her into the privacy of the hallway, away from the stress of the war room. She sensed that Starlet needed this contact, but there was more. Strange alien feelings swirled between them. Unspoken stories began flashing across Zoe's mind as Starlet remembered times with Fox. Zoe saw images flashing in her mind's eye, lasting less than a second, but as clear as life itself. Fox smiling at a young Starlet who had just aced a test. Fox teaching her how to fly a planet runner. Fox giving her her name. You are my own little star, he said, patting her head. Then he was standing up for her and adopting her. The excitement of seeing Earth for the first time because it was Fox's home. Zoe became aware there was no order to these memories. She watched, fascinated by the speed of communication. She was inside Starlet's brain. More images came and went, but they became sad memories. With them came waves of shame and guilt. Listening to Fox argue with someone about keeping her on the ship. Starlet running through a dark, wet jungle being pursued and hearing Fox calling for her, his voice triggering complete panic. Starlet having to enter his horrible nightmares night after night to guide him to safer dreams. A young Kira telling her that Fox deserved better and that she was a disgrace. Starlet being so ashamed she tried to run away, then getting caught by Kira's father. He handed her a book. Starlet cringed in Zoe's arms as the book, whatever it was, brought the strongest wave of guilt yet. The pain was almost a physical knot in Zoe's stomach. Pulling the fluffy alien even tighter, Zoe focused everything she had into comforting her. Without being told, Zoe somehow knew the physical contact was integrated into Quarkin. Sorry, let me back up. Without being told, Zoe somehow knew physical contact was ingrained in Quarkin's emotional and cultural into Quarkin's emotions and culture. Sorry. And Starlet was half Quarkin. She needed this, and no Astari would give it to her. She let her new friend push herself against her until her glasses dug into the side of her head. Not wanting to break the hug, Zoe ripped them off and shoved them in her pocket. No, go back to the happy memories, Zoe thought, trying to will Starlet not to dwell on whatever this book was. It worked. The connection was two ways, and Zoe found she could influence Starlet and guide her back. She tried her best to push comfort and joy. Happy memories began again. New ones. Zoe saw herself standing in the window of the hospital, holding her phone. She was confused. Starlet wasn't there. That was Fox. Starlet had been connected to him when he had found her. The blue alien held this memory, giving Zoe time to understand. She felt the joy that he had felt. It was more than finding a random person. There he is. There she is. Zoe's alive. I can save her, he had thought. Then there was a sense of loss mixed with joy from Starlet. Finding Zoe meant she might lose Fox. Why? They both heard when Kira whispered to Fox through Starlet's connection. Zoe was able to understand what she said through Starlet's mind. Fox, please come back to me, Kira pleaded, softly in her language. Please, Starlet needs you. I need you. I won't fight you if you want to stay with your Earth girl. Please, just don't leave me like this. Earth girl? Zoe thought. Me? Starlet wiped her eyes. Fox may choose to stay with you. He has not said anything, but we both know how he felt when he was with you. I want him to be happy. Kira does too, but she feels he is all she has left. She lost her family. He was given to her as a charge to keep by her father. It is what she was raised to do, care for him. Given to her? Zoe asked, not understanding. The blue alien sniffed and explained. We call them our champions. They are our heroes, and we treat them so. It is considered a great honor to serve them. One champion picks a handler, and they bond. Kira's father was Fox's handler. They were very close. He groomed her to become his successor. But when Fox found me, I bonded with him so well, I messed everything up. There's more. Her bond is still strong. She feels connected to her father through him. For her, if she loses Fox, she failed her father. Oh, Starlet, Zoe whispered, rubbing her back. Come on, they should be at the hangar at any minute. Zoe realized that bit of information came from Starlet. She should have no idea about the speed of those crafts. Helping Starlet to the door. Zoe helped Starlet to the door, marveling at the speed of information being exchanged. That's the end.
Okay. The revelation that Starlet had bonded with Fox too, correct? I caught that right?
Yes.
That is fascinating. I don't know what else to say about that other than, okay, yeah, now everything that they've had, all the weirdness that they've had beyond just her being a weird half race, makes a whole lot of sense. So, other thoughts?
I think the interpersonal dynamics between these characters is a strong point for sure. There's a lot of just drama and tension, and it's good. I don't really know what to say. It's good.
I'm kind of there as well. Like, I've never really had any strong critique of any stuff because it's solid. It's real good. I like it. Can't wait for it to come out on audiobook so that I can listen to it.
There you go. Brendan, you had mentioned last time she was at the beginning of this one a little bit, but the news lady bothered you a little bit. I think you kind of gave your feedback back up on that. But yeah, can you guys interact on that a little?
I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, like, She is the most annoying character on the face of the planet. She has a very punchable face.
He's the second most annoying character in the book. The first is a guy named Peck.
Mm-hmm.
A guy named who?
Peck. I didn't read that chapter to you, but yeah.
No.
He's an annoying boss that goes and starts bossing around a woman in his office and can't get her name right for anything. Every time he talks to her, he calls her a different name. And
that is incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
On many levels.
Yeah. He winds up throwing her off a roof because she's bit and he thinks that she's going to turn. And yeah,
that's pleasant.
That's standing boss.
Yeah.
I think Brendan's main critique was involving like the realism, though, I believe, of the.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay. As somebody who has worked in the news, absolutely reporters will hound and try to get the scoop on the story because that's how you promote, right? In news, you don't promote in the company. You promote by going up to bigger markets, and you go up to bigger markets by getting major scoop stories. Like, that's how you do it. So on one hand, it's realistic in the sense that they're doing this thing. On the other hand, they hammered into us at the news station, if we are in an unsafe situation, you need to back up, right? You need to not be unsafe, right? Now, here's the thing. This character isn't real. This isn't a real thing. The characters are characters. They're caricatures almost out of necessity. And it's a trope that the obsessive reporter goes and puts themselves in danger, and also, by the way, is an annoying whack job who is like, yeah. I'm just wondering, why is the cameraman not like just putting down the camera, like grabbing the reporter and pulling her like, you're an idiot. We need to get out of here. Why are we doing this? You know, if she's doing it by herself, which some reporters do have to do, that is a thing.
So why
their dedication to the craft? That's what that is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joel.
So why they're in the situation in the first place is because their helicopter went down. The news chopper got too close to a building. A zombie fell off the top, hit the rotor, and they crashed. They were told to stay out of the city. They got too close.
And they didn't.
And they didn't. They're like, well, it's not that bad. As long as we stay up, right? We'll be safe. But they went in for a shot. And
they didn't stay up. They did the one, like, you had one job.
Yeah. And that's why Kira was yelling at him. And so once they crash and Fox is trying to rescue them, and then Kira and her crew come and rescue them, it's like they're in there. There's nowhere for her to back up to. They're surrounded.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I get that. I understand. I still think it's dumb.
Yeah.
Because it is.
Right.
Dumb characters, dumb ways to die.
Yeah. So we don't see her again. I mean, she gets, like, you see her in passing. She gets hauled off to the hospital to get checked out. And then we don't see her again until the end of the book. When Kira, Kit, Hal, and the vice president show up, they basically quarantine her and the camera crew, and she's throwing a fit. She's like, "What about the freedom of the press? What about you can't hold me prisoner? Yada 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 yada." And
that's fine.
And they walk in and just stare at her for a minute. She's like, "Is this an interrogation tactic? What's going on? You've taken my stuff away. I demand my stuff back." And they're like, your narrative doesn't really paint our alien visitor friends in a very good light while they're saving you. We're going to give you your stuff back, but we want you to do a voiceover and make it a little more friendly.
I love that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So there's comeuppance.
Yeah, there's comeuppance.
Brendan, have you ever seen Full Metal Jacket?
I have seen Full Metal Jacket, unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you know what they're doing during that movie in the second half of the movie?
Yeah. It's
going around doing war journalism.
Yeah, war journalism.
This isn't exactly a soldier who's doing it, but
right.
It would make sense that somebody in this situation would be stupid enough to do that.
Right, but there's a difference between somebody who does war journalism, who's done war journalism, who is with the army doing war journalism, and follows all of the rules that the army has set up, and this
the hubris
random
is the
chick
thing that you're kind of weird about, yeah, right? Like the hubris.
The hubris of this random chick to ignore orders and just straight up show up and go, "Hey, this is my show. I'm doing this," and it's like you're an idiot.
Okay, Miss Piggy.
Hold on. And I think that you've laid it out very well. Yes, it's very stupid to do that. This is exactly why she should. Because you would not be engaged with her character otherwise. You wouldn't be able to see if this is a character who maybe winds up growing on past this later on. You would not be engaged with this character if she wasn't a bit of a...
Well, she's a villain. She's an antagonist in this thing, a lesser antagonist.
Hang on. I have lost all video, so I will be like literally right.
Okay.
She kind of gives me the same sort of vibe.
Regained video.
She kind of gives me the same sort of vibe as like Cordelia from Buffy.
Yes.
J. Jonah Jameson a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cordelia's attitude, though, for sure. Okay. Any other thoughts for Joel on?
What did you guys think of the mental thing going on with Zoe and Starlet?
All of the stuff with the mental, especially with Starlet in particular. Some of the stuff with some of the other characters gets a little bit vague to me, but the emotional depth of Starlet's character that you keep kind of hammering in as the story goes on is really fascinating. It gives me Spock connections at certain points when Spock has to emote at various points throughout Star Trek variations. It reminds me of that, but like obviously she's not Spock. It's not a 1-to-1, but it reminds me of like, I'm far away from home. This is a cosmic level thing, and I just need a minute to grieve in some kind of way. Like that really hits hard. And that's something I've always appreciated, particularly about Starlet's sort of mind meld connection stuff. So other thoughts?
Yeah. I agree with that.
I definitely get engrossed in any of your character dynamics and dialogue, but I need to go back and get more familiar with all your different characters because you have like 7 or 8 of them, and you have a lot of them. And I was just doing the mental math, but there's like 100 different interpersonal relationships happening at any given time. If I feel like, because you got like, how many characters have been in these scenes?
In today's read, Starlet, Kira,
Zoe,
Kit, Zoe, Tiff, Cooper, the news lady.
Kind of the cameraman.
Zipcon was mentioned.
Kind of the cameraman.
I didn't mention him today, but he was in the previous bit.
Mm-hmm.
And Hammer.
Yep. So yeah, it was around 9, something like that.
9. So that's 9 times 8. if I'm doing that right. 9 times 8 is 72. So 72 different connection.
I mean, if you're not everyone has a relationship with everybody, but yeah.
Give or take. So it's definitely like I am behind because I maybe picked up on like 5 of those.
Yeah. So the news lady only has connections with the people she's seeing. Really, only Kira and Kit.
Okay.
The Tiff and Cooper are just getting picked up. They have connections, but it's nowhere near as deep. They're new to the aliens. The big thing going on is Starlet and Kira and Fox and Kit. That's the big 4.
Okay.
That have an emotional connection to each other.
Gotcha.
That have been through everything.
Yeah, it's all good. My thing was much less of a criticism, more of a acknowledgement of I need to read up on the rest of your stuff because it's good and worth reading. So
did you fall asleep?
All right. Brendan starts talking to Kirith right when I'm gonna go to him, but I can wait just a minute. So the basically what we have left tonight, I have World of Wrestling. We have Brendan wanting to share as well, and we have Alex and Jesse. Jesse specifically has to be toward the end. I'm kind of purposefully pushing Alex toward the end unless he needs to get going at some point, just because, it's nonfiction. He's thumbs up. So that leaves me and Brendan. I was going to give Brendan
to get going, then I'll just put you on earbud and listen to you guys. So
okay, Brendan. Yes.
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I really hate to leave right as he goes and starts, but I have a 12-hour shift tomorrow, and
all right,
this
man.
is bedtime.
Have a good night. So make sure you catch the episode. Okay.
Of course, whenever you can, I would very much appreciate any notes you have for me for my stuff that.
For your stuff, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Yeah.
Story time.
Brendan time.
Story time. When I went to CCSU, I took a screenwriting class. The adjunct professor actually was an accredited screenwriter for a movie called Like Mike, which I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I love that movie. It's stupid, kitschy, 2000s.
I remember seeing that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we went through the entire process of pitching and proposing different films and things. And then for our, he would force us to write, and I say force us to write. As our assignment, we were to write the script that we proposed. For a film, which is what I did, you had to write 20 pages. For a half-hour episode, you had to write the full half-hour episode. I wrote my first 20 pages. He read it over and said, okay, well, I can't have you do nothing for the rest of the class, but I have no notes for you to fix, so write the next 20 pages. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I wrote the next 20 pages. And then at the end, I was like, you know what? I like this. I want to do it. And so for the next 4 years, I wrote the script on and off. It is the only thing I have written from start to finish in a completed draft. And I'm not reading you the whole thing. But it is my first film script that I've ever written, and it's called its current working title is Sylvan Knight. This is also the third draft of it. However, it is definitely not the final draft because there's a lot of stuff in here that needs work.
Okay.
I'm going to read you basically the first bunch of pages. There is no good breaking point, so we'll just stop
at some point, and we're gonna hope it's fine.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
You're in charge of stoppage unless you give it to me.
Okay, so Sylvan Knight, fade in. By the way, as usual, this is in script format, meaning there is not going to be proper grammar. There's not going to be, well, there is proper grammar, but there's not going to be like a proper prose, okay? This is a this is a film script. I imagined it as animated because of course I did. I love animation. Fight me.
Now sharing Brendan Sunshine.
Okay, exterior outdoor concert night. A clear night sky, loud sounds of cheering, reveal David, 17 years old. He isn't anyone particularly special. In a Phantom Dreamers band shirt that a bunch of other people around him are also wearing, though he isn't jumping up and down and instead is drawing something in a sketchbook. He looks very uncomfortable and a little disgusted with how people around him are acting. Allison, 17, bounces into frame. She is pretty, but has a cheeky streak. She's super adventurous and has an infectious smile. Allison, hey nerd. David, relieved, hey you. Allison hands him a drink. Got you one too. Thanks, Allie. Allison tousles his hair even though she is shorter than him. Allison, enjoying yourself? David, of course, thank you for taking me. Allison, hang on. Allison grabs him and starts to drag him away. David is hit hard as they are leaving by a guy who accidentally walked into him. David, furious. Hey! Guy, sorry dude, you all right? Allison, interjecting, diffusing the situation. We're fine, aren't we, David? David, sullenly. Yeah, we're good. Sorry, man. Allison beams. They continue to leave. Exterior, inciting hill, night. Allison and David move away from the loud sounds of the concert. They're on a grassy hill. A road winds along the top of the hill with the collapsible stadium below them. The night sky is clear and a lit up city can be seen in the background. Allison, can't hear yourself think there, huh? David, well, it is a concert. Allison, look, just because you're right doesn't mean you have to say it. David, you asked. Allison, shh. David laughs. He's comfortable with just Allison around. David, thank you for bringing me along. Allison, well, I got 2 tickets. Who else was I going to bring? David, I'm sure plenty of people would have loved to come along. Allison, yeah, well, I didn't want to go with any of them. There is silence. David, it's a lovely night. Allison, summer nights are the greatest thing. David, I don't know. I think winter nights by a fire are also good. Allison, maybe, but I don't think many adventures happen when you sit around. David, well, maybe it's after a day of adventuring. Allison, yeah, I guess that would be nice. They look out again, watching the lights, enjoying it, one another's company. Allison, so next summer I will be taking a trip to England, Scotland, Wales, you know. David, hiding, missing her already. That sounds great. Allison, I'm going to be going all over the place. See the Highlands, London, Edinburgh, can't wait. David, feeling content with her happiness. That's amazing. You really don't get going slow, do you? Allison, nope, life's too short to be a slug. David, hey, some of us aren't slugs. We just need more time to appreciate detail. Allison, yeah, you're all about the whole detail thing, aren't you, art boy? David doesn't really know what to say. Allison keeps talking while he looks off and back to her. Allison, anyway, my mom found a deal with a travel agent and we'll be going really cheaply. We got this whole thing planned out, rooms and all. And that's saying something since, you know, I can't plan for anything. It'll be busy, but we got some slow days to enjoy being in a new place. You should come. Pause a beat. David comes to grip with what was said. David, what? Allison, I said you should come. You would love it. David, but it's your trip, your family. You don't want to drag me along for that, do you? Allison, are you kidding me? You remember who you are, right? I would love to have you along. 2 weeks of touring the stomping grounds of some of the greatest writers. I know you would love it. David, I mean, yes, that does sound really fun, but you don't need to drag me along. It wouldn't be fair to the rest of your family. Allison, please, you know my mom loves you. Besides, I can't think of anyone I'd rather spend the time with. As she says this last sentence, she turns to face David, a huge, genuine smile on her face. Her face lights up with the headlights and the sound of a horn blares wildly. Cut to exterior graveyard day. People watch as a coffin or a casket with the name Allison is lowered into a grave. As we slow push on David, distorted images of hospital beds with her in it. Back at the wake, he is almost overcome with grief. Cut to interior catering place, reception day. People mill around. It isn't a large crowd. As David stands there, the voices of other people's conversations build up with a roaring noise. Wake attender 1. Who's he? Wake attender 2. That's her friend. Lisa says they were attached at the hip. Wake attender 3. Why isn't he wearing something more respectful? Wake attender 4. Who knows? Wake attender 5. This whole ordeal is such a shame. Wake attender 6. This is why you have to be careful. David turns and punches this guy, the wake attender 6. He grabs him off the ground, yelling in his face. Be careful? You think this is her fault? What about the driver? He needed to be more careful. He hit her. How dare you even think? David's mother runs up to grab David's arm. She's surprised that he would perform such a violent outburst. David's mother, alarmed, imploring, David, stop. What are you doing? David glares at the others, then looks at his mother. As he realizes what happened, his face looks sorry for what he did. He runs to ... Exterior wooded path day. David, after running here, slows to a walk. He's obviously frustrated. As he's walking, he pulls out a necklace. On it is written Allison. He stares at it and then runs off, trying to avoid anyone else. Clumsy here. David walks faster. He moves close to a ditch on the side of the road. Pictures of the crash and the person responsible flash up on screen, distorted from his anger. He finally turns, punching a street light, screaming loudly. Anger, frustration, betrayal, tears barely held back. David quietly. It's not fair. Something happens. David slips and falls down the ditch. After tumbling down the steep side, he falls over a ledge and hits the ground. Quickly, fade to black. Fade in, interior Morgan Le Fay's tomb, night. David sees starlight through the hole in the ceiling of a cave he's in. He struggles to a sitting position, using a stone something to help him up. David, all caps, damn it! David hits the stone something, and when he does, he leaves a red glowing mark on it. The memories of the man in the crash rush through him. David, why? Why do I have to go through this? I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't have to feel this. As he says this, slowly, black smoke leaves. Oh, boy. As he says this, he slowly, black smoke leaves from his hand without him noticing. With these final words and a rush, his anger leaves him through the smoke. It forms into a black cloud, which begins to rise from the rock, which is revealed to be a tomb. Eventually, David notices this and scrambles away from it, suddenly afraid. When 2 large glowing red eyes appear in the cloud, David sprints out of the hole in the cave, runs through the tunnel and out into exterior Avalon Forest night. David stumbles through the thick underbrush, still thinking of escaping whatever was back in the cave. Eventually he comes to a clearing and stops in awe. He gazes at the ethereal beauty of the small glade. The strange flowers and trees are alien to him. The moon is much larger than it should be. He is fascinated by his surroundings and needs to stop just to take it all in the wonder of it all. Pan up to Chesh, who is looking about 16 and has cat ears and a tail. Dressed in earth tones, Chesh is lively and fun, adventurous yet calculating. I use the word adventure a lot. He loves adventure and to enjoy life, especially if he has someone to enjoy it with. Chesh drops out of the tree, startling David. Chesh stares intently at David, analyzing everything about him. David is shocked to see a kid with cat ears and a tail in front of him and can't find words to say. Chesh, you're human? David, confused. What? Chesh, more excited. You're human! You're human! Oh, it's been so long since we've had a visitor. David, Chesh. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun! Everybody's gonna be happy to see you. Come on, let's run! David, wait, what? Come on, there will be time later. You don't want to waste your time, right? Well, catch me and I'll tell you everything. Chesh runs off. David scrambles after him. They sprint through the forest, eventually coming to a ridge overlooking what looks like an old European city. The city has a large cathedral, as well as a mansion at the highest geographical point in the city. In the distance, a lighthouse rises up past the town, and the town is surrounded by forest. David stops to take in the sight. David with wonder. Where am I? Chesh calling from further down the hill. Hey, hurry up! David runs after Chesh. They slide down the ridge onto the rooftops in the city. Exterior Avalon City night. Chesh sprints off with David hot in pursuit. After some chasing, David catches up briefly. Chesh points to a tower in the city not far from them. Chesh, there, come on! More running. Eventually, they run up the tower where David finally catches up with Chesh and manages to grab him. David, hold on! What's going on? Where am I? Who are you? Chesh, oh, right, I never introduced myself. How rude of me. Name's Chesh. You'll want to hold on to this. He hands David a large wooden rod. David, why would I? Chesh grabs something and running pushes David off the edge. David begins to fall, but suddenly he's gliding through the air on a hang glider. They glide over the city streets until Chesh. All right, off time. David, what? Chesh lets go. When David tries to grab him, he loses his grip and falls. They slide along the roof, fall, roll off of a cloth awning, and tumble into a cart of hay in a back alley. Exterior back alley night. Chesh and David clamber out of the hay. Chesh. Much fun. I knew you had that jump in you. David out of breath. Chesh, please, don't make me do that again. After a beat. Where on earth are we? Chesh amused. Nope, you're not on Earth anymore, silly. This place has many names. Of course, my favorite's Avalon. David. Avalon? As in the Apple Island? Chesh. Yeah, very good. So, what are you? Chesh. But you're human-ish. Chesh. Well, technically, I'm more than that. I don't know what word you have it in your language, though, and a strange old man called me a bakaneko. David. A what? I don't know. Point is, I'm me, and you're here. Chesh begins to leave David out the alley. You weren't the first person to visit, you know. People from your world have been visiting for a long time. A bunch of them you would know, too. And you know what? We'll just stop here. There's a conversation, but...
Very.
Dude, that is fun. That is, well, I mean...
That's amazing. That's so good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very, very pleased.
How dare you kill her?
I knew it was happening. Literally, like the moment they bumped into the guy and she stepped in, I was like, she's gonna die. She's gonna die, and we're all gonna get really mad at Brandon and shake our fingers and say no.
Okay. That's
really
what you were like. That's not okay. That's not close to okay. Yeah. I just saw that that's not okay, and I thought you were. I thought you were angry.
Long to process.
I thought you were angry at me using the word "dang it," but
no.
I do have a clarifying question.
Yes.
Whenever he fell into the ditch, is that whenever he just fell into Avalon?
Yes.
Okay. That was it. That was the confusion.
Okay.
Yes. Go.
You have Allison, but Alice get hit by a car. And then you have not Alice be transported to another world that's Wonderland.
Yep.
You're mixing Isekai and Alice in Wonderland in a really weird way, and I'm here for it.
So hold on. It's worse than that.
There's a Jessica.
Cheshire, yeah.
Bobbity.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, so you got that reference. Let's see here. I mean, I could just send the entire PDF if I wanted to. Like, I have it. I could just dump it in here. But let's see. I reference Hestia. Hold on. Let me read a part real quick.
Sure. Like Avalon's obviously a reference to Arthurian legend.
Yes.
Morgan Le Fay.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Do you mean cats? Wait, are there more people like you? You mean cats? Yeah, there are more, but we usually keep to ourselves. Don't really know why. I love meeting people. They always have food or something warm. Then there are the dryads out in the woods. David sees some satyrs walking past. An ox pulls their cart that's filled with different crates. He cuts Chesh off. Satyrs! Chesh. Yeah, they come and go. They always have something interesting to bring to town. David. I'm now waiting for a really big lion to show up. Chesh. Oh, he was by some time ago. Gentle fellow. Love being around him. David. Are you serious? Chesh. Yeah, how do you know it was him? This place seems really similar to one book I read. Chesh. Really? Huh. Good on you, Jack.
That's pretty late.
Wonderful.
That's it.
Freaking amazing.
Whenever Chesh is introduced, immediately in my head, like I visualized how that scene would play out, where you have him like fleeing from the cave and he's like catching his breath, like that was really strange. And then he gets this feeling like, well, now I'm being watched by something else in these enchanting wood. Like he gets a moment of serenity, like, wow, this is gorgeous. And he's like, something's watching me. And the camera would, like, of course, show like this giant feline eye staring at him, and the music starts to swell, da da da, and then it drops in front of him. He's like, "Hello," and then the moment he says, like, "Come follow me," and then he scurries off, and now you have a wide shot, and you just have the characters. He's just like standing there, like.
Yeah.
You're getting the tone.
I was
hilarious.
I've seen this in anime a lot better.
I was
too.
visualizing 100% of this. It's incredible.
Wonderful.
Okay, so just so you, I don't want that scene with Allison where the horn blares. That's not when she gets hit. She does get hit and she does die. But
no, I was picking up on that.
That's a complete fake out that later on, like near the end, you get the rest of that scene. Because I thought that was a good
It's a very over the garden wall.
So she gets hit by something. She doesn't get hit by like a human car. She gets hit by something in the world.
No, she gets hit by a human car. She does get hit by a car. But what happens is that they're at a concert, they go back, and then on a different, like, as part of the trip, how do I phrase it? It's not super clear because this is like
before the trip begins. It's between the concert and the trip.
It's before she goes on the trip.
Very tragic, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Bridge to Terabithia levels.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not to that extent.
Well, you did a good job of pulling
guys,
a lot.
It's 11:30 here. I gotta get to bed.
All right, Joel.
Yeah.
Make sure to catch World of Wrestling.
I will listen to the broadcast and see the other two things.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you, Joel.
All right.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah.
See you, Joel.
Children, that's not okay. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. But I'm glad that you got that reaction. Or I'm glad that the character that is there on screen for like 3 pages gave you got that attached to her. That
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It was up levels of introduction. Great job. The movie Up. So I wanted to mention really briefly before we get to mine. Jesse and I are working on a lot of stuff from my story, mainly in audio right now. We've started talking about some animation stuff. This is absolutely something I'd love to work on with you eventually, because I can already tell the script is going to be absolutely amazing. So, if you trust Jesse more than me when it comes to not just AI but traditional and mixing the both, like we'd love to. I think we'd love to work with you. I'd love to work with you.
Let me just. At risk of, I mean, it's okay. No one steal, please.
No. You can send it to a DM for us too, whatever you want to do. But yeah, okay. No, I really love it.
Yeah. Oh well, I kind of am interested to see what Alex would say.
Mm-hmm.
But so let me. Oh, you know what? Whatever. What the hey? I have the power of individuals. Bam. Yep. Joshua. Bam.
Thanks.
Where's Jesse? You're in here. There you are. Bam. Look at me being a man.
No more, in the words of Jack Black from School of Rock, no more secret songs.
Anyway, yeah. So it's just like this story was kind of another baby of mine, but it is one that I actually managed to finish. There's some sort of cliche stuff in there, I know, but I also tried really hard to this was just something I wanted to like it was interesting because this is the closest thing to writing for myself that I've done.
Yes.
Right. In terms of filling it with things I wanted. The one thing that I didn't do, or that I tried really hard to do as sort of like, and this is maybe more preaching than telling a good story, but the main character, like the main villain in the story is his anger made manifest into an entity.
Oh, I love it.
And
so the idea is that the magic from humans' emotions is more powerful in this world.
Yes. And he can't defeat his anger with violence. It's kind of, there's kind of Deus Ex Machina-ness, maybe. I do need to work on it. This is very much like, I know that I said this is like my third draft, but like this needs a lot.
Yeah. Finish third draft, even if it needs work. It sounds great. I'm really excited about it. The quickness of the opening, I'm absolutely in love with. So
literally every person I've shown this to has said they have loved Chesh, and I'm just like, oh no, he's not the main character. Oh no, I've done it again.
But he's that side character that you love.
The main character. No,
he is
immediately.
He's all the Disney side characters that everyone loves and gets, like the 40-year-old moms get T-shirts of.
Well, it's really good that Chesh is the way you're going to give exposition there, because he's lightning fast. So it's like the audience feels like the main character there. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yep.
But you're saying it in a way that I love the character so much, and that's helping me get along with the world, because I feel like, okay, there's a lot going on here, but so long as I follow this psychopath, I should be good.
Psychopath. Little cat man is psycho. Wee.
Yes. Yeah, he's constantly he has constantly the zoomies, right? It's just,
oh my gosh. Oh man, he is definitely. At one point they go into Hatter's shop, because of course they do, and there's an open crate, and he just climbs in and sits down.
Yes.
Actual Kitty HD, unbelievable.
I love it.
And Dave looks at him and he just goes, "What?"
Exactly. Yep.
Like I tried to fill this thing with like super fast references that, like, if you blink you miss it. Like that's
very vaudeville. Yeah.
That's just my kind of thing. I don't know why. I just think that's more interesting. I love it when I get to discover something that's somebody hidden in there. And so I wanted to fill a script with things that you can find hidden if you know something, you know.
Sounds
so like
wonderful.
Jack, right?
Yep.
If you don't know that C.S. Lewis's name is C.S. Lewis's friends called him Jack, you're gonna miss it.
Yep. I also love the idea that Aslan just like vacations here or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have 3 more things tonight if we end up having time. Obviously, some people got to go when they got to go. Do you guys mind if I go ahead with World of Wrestling, and then we can get to the others? Okay.
Jesse loves your World of Wrestling, and we all do too.
He hasn't been around for them lately either. So do I need to catch you up a little bit on what happened? Just very briefly.
Very briefly.
Where were you last? Where did we go last for you? Because you're probably the most out of date, and if I catch you up, everyone will be.
The last thing I remember was either dinner at a restaurant or reviewing some like footage at an apartment. But I can't remember.
So basically, we found out, and Brendan stole my thunder. Joke. He didn't steal my thunder. The Anne, Joshua's supposed fiance at this point, she apparently died several years back. The story was the did you hear the homecoming game? Did you hear about that? The story of the homecoming game?
I don't think so.
Okay, so basically, football game, Joshua's playing homecoming game. He gets tossed out in the first quarter on purpose so that he can go sit with Anne. Everyone knows that they're engaged at this point. He's planning on becoming a coach, like all that kind of stuff. After the game, she wants to walk home. He says he's tired, even though he barely played part of a quarter, and just wants to drive home and not deal with the car, moving cars around in the morning kind of a thing and leaving it in the parking lot. So basically, they get hit by a car. She's killed, and he gets a TBI kind of a thing going on. So he's got issues, and Gary basically says he was aimless. His parents didn't know what to do with him because he was so angry after a while that they ended up having to kick him out. He found his way through wrestling, and that's all over the course of about 3 years. And so Gary basically says he's, super special, cool guy, really big hit with kids, all that other kind of stuff. But he definitely like needs direction, and if you can give it to him, like by all means, kind of a thing. So basically with all of that, she goes back to him and she basically says, look, I'm here to help you. I'm toward the end of my career. Whatever I can do to help, just talk to me. Let me know. I just want to be friends. Don't be weird about it. The fact that I know this stuff now. And he's like, yeah, cool. He actually doesn't say anything. He doesn't want to talk about it. He says literally nothing, pulls out his guitar because he's like in his van that he's currently like living in, it seems, or at least part-time living in, minus some hotels or something. And he pulls out his guitar and like just plays and sits with her on the tailgate. That's the end of episode 2. Going into episode 3, Jessica is finally starting to get back into the swing of things, and the evil general manager guy calls her into his office, basically says that he has a mystery opponent for her as a basically a thank you, is the way he puts it, for how she treated his daughter back in a couple months ago, which basically
You said general manager, and the emphasis was on general, so I didn't think of like a general manager. I thought of general manager.
No, general manager.
That's his name.
It's all good. His name's Will Rothschild, and he's super slimy. Think Willem Dafoe, kind of a thing. So he basically says, you injured my daughter, and so here's my thanks tonight. You have a mystery opponent. She goes out to the ring, and there's a 6'7" male that comes out supposedly to like have a match with her, ? And the bell rings, like it all seems very official. Joshua comes down and tries to help her fight him off. And he ends up getting his head busted up. But because he distracted her, Jessica hit the guy with a chair and they were able to escape. So that's kind of the situation at this point. So that just happened. We're going to go to Checked Out, which is the second poem of episode 3. I'll read 3 like I've been doing because they're fairly short.
And said no change shall sully me, thou soul of love and bravery. Thy songs were made for the pure and free, they shall never sound in slavery.
Now sharing, Joshua David Ling.
Joshua slowly opened his eyes and stared up at the lights. Jessica shaded him with her form. It's going to be all right. The trainers hustled out to the ring, so they're still in the ring at this point, ready to help him away, but Joshua stood before they got there, and he said, "I'm okay." The trainers made sure of his walk to the back, and everyone applauded him for standing after that brutal suplex that left him looking so grim. So it was a German suplex. I think he got landed on the back of his head and neck. When they all got to the back, the head trainer checked him out. He checked every facet of him, inside and out. After about 30 minutes of checking, he gave Josh some advice. "You've got quite the knot on your head. May want to use some ice. Have you been hit before like this? Because I have some concerns. Nothing that will keep you from wrestling, and nothing terribly stern. I was in a car crash once." Jessica held his hand. "You might have a mild chronic form of TBI, but no concussion, my man. You're free to go on home if you don't have a match." Jess and Josh both thanked him, and the trainer wriggled his mustache. He left to go on to break, and Supergirl looked at the big dog. "As long as I'm cleared, he says, "as long as I'm cleared to wrestle, I'm still going to go whole hog. Thank you for what you did tonight. I will back you up. We need to prove to those in power you're a big dog, not a little pup. As far as my issues are concerned, we need to go above Will's head. We will not complain directly to him. We'll go to the board instead." So that's that one. Next one is the board. The board of directors was made up of wrestlers from days of grappling gone by. As Jessica and Joshua came into the room, almost all of them said hi. Ben the Rocket Armstrong stood up and shook both their hands, as did WWL's current champion, the War Monster, Warren Nicholson. Next in line to shake their hand was a women's legend known as Hera, but her real name was Francine Wilson, and she was a terror in her era. The final two were the ones who would ultimately make the calls. One was William Rothschild, that's the general manager character. The other was stout and tall. He was a world champion 30 years ago, and he owned the majority share in WWL's business stock and all that lay in there. He was a multimillionaire with a dynasty of wrestling sons. His name was Hammerin' Hank McClanahan, and he would be the one who Jessica planned to focus on in that meeting that they had. Joshua said he'd follow her lead and ask if he had anything to add. So, one other thing just to mention, I don't know if you noticed it, but the champion Warren Nicholson, the current champion, he's part of the board. So the current champion's always has a say on the board. And he was the one who kept Joshua from being beat up in the locker room very early on in our story. So, anyway. Jessica, babe, it's good to see you. How's every little thing? That's Hank McClanahan. Good to see you too, Hank. I'm okay, minus some stuff in the ring. Yes, I saw what happened the other night, and William has something to say. I think it might clear up our little issues and make this all go away. Jessica stared right into Will, and she thought for a second he flinched. But he kept his calm and suave composure. His face said he had this clinched. Well, Jessica, as you know, I'm a very busy man, and sometimes I make mistakes. It just so happens I told Tony LaRue, that's the big 6'7" guy that beat them up, that his re-debut match I'd make for the beginning of the show, but I didn't specify which one. His re-debut was to happen next week against one of Hank's sons. Jessica's hands formed into fists, but she held them tight to her side. Now, this doesn't mean William won't go unpunished, but I want to hear your side. Ever since last summer, Will has been on me, trying to make my life rough because I beat his daughter Tara Lynn and showed she wasn't that tough. She wasn't ready to be in the ring, and she got hurt by me. I didn't do it to embarrass her. I didn't do it to be mean. It was an accident through and through. But William still holds a grudge. How else do you explain that 3-on-2 match? Hank, you be the judge. This is all a personal agenda, a vendetta against me. Now my protege Joshua has suffered since he jumped in the hero to be. Hera moved to jump in the conversation, and Jessica complied. I do have concerns for the women on the roster, but this cannot be denied. William has given you much in your career. You were virtually unknown before him. He's the one who gave you your big break, and your accusations are grim. Then Warren. And not to be on the one side or another, but when Joshua was backstage, the Atlantics and him had a run-in, so I can't say that I'm amazed that Will would put you all in that match, but I wish he'd evened the odds. I don't see a personal vendetta. I don't see probable cause. And then Ben, the Rocket Armstrong, one of the other former wrestlers, chimes in. You can't all see it? You gotta be kidding me. It's as clear as day is long. William is pulling shenanigans again, and it's the old Rothschild song. Why do you think we have so many complaints about how people are booked? It's time we suspend Will here and now. Somebody just wake up and look. Calm down, Rocket. This isn't the way. We have to be supportive of everyone this day. Jessica, I'm sorry, but until you have proof, there's simply nothing I can do. You're totally aloof. Have you not seen the things that he does or the people that he hurts? This is going to bite you in the rear as long as he's here, you're cursed. Jessica grabbed Josh by the hand and angrily stormed out of the room, not exactly sure what she'd do, but knowing this needed to end soon. And then the last one for tonight will be Joshua Slater versus Pierce Larkin. The next night on Inferno, WWL's flagship show, Joshua was set to face an opponent who had style and flow. The jazz man, Pierce Larkin, was an improviser in the ring who fed off the crowd's hatred of him and then did many amazing things. He was a lot smaller than Joshua. He weighed about 190, but Joshua did not underestimate him because he was tiny. After they made their entrances and the bell was rung, Joshua let everything else go and tried to have some fun. The jazzman moved around tentatively, striking Josh's legs with kicks. Joshua then rammed him into the corner and began to dish out licks. Spinning belly-to-belly suplex out of the corner, and Joshua went for the pin. Pierce kicked out at one, but Joshua held him again. A gut wrench from behind turned into a full Nelson, and Pierce tried his best to squirm away. He tried his best to run. Joshua Slater pulled him up, keeping the hold intact. Pierce threw Josh with a snapmare, landing Josh on his back. Pierce then went to run off the ropes and go for a seated dropkick, but Joshua dodged it as quick as he could, making it look super slick. Pierce crashed and burned on the mat, and Joshua grabbed him again. Josh whipped him into the far ropes and came back with a power slam. Josh went again to try and pin Pierce and win the fall, but Pierce kicked out at a 2 count, which was impressive to all. But then Pierce seemed to decide that he could not win this match, so blatantly in front of the referee, he changed his tactics fast. He raked Josh's eyes with his nails, and the referee had nothing to say. No disqualifications for the dirty way Pierce had played. Pierce then rolled Josh into a schoolboy pin, and the ref began to count. Pierce put his feet up on the ropes to make sure he'd win the bout, basically getting extra leverage. Cheating as plainly as any could see, Pierce Larkin got the win. His music played on the PA, and he exited the ring with a grin. Joshua took one look at the referee, but the ref wouldn't look at him. Anger seethed within the big dog. This was no longer about Tara Lynn. That's Will Rothschild's daughter again. Will wasn't just punishing Jessica for what had happened before. Will was now punishing him as well, and this was what he had in store. Biased referees to make sure he never wins a fall. Joshua left the ring the loser, determined to stand tall. So that's where we're at.
The shareholder drama is getting intense.
Yeah. So, thoughts on story,
yeah,
whatever it is.
I always keep visualizing these so well. It just It's great. TBI, traumatic brain injury, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So
but not quite like a concussion or anything. So
well, yeah, he said you definitely don't have a concussion. Otherwise, I'd be keeping you. But you had some symptoms that were concerning that you might have a concussion. So I'm confused about that, And so he's just saying like, I need to keep an eye on you, basically. But that's basically where he's at. So.
Yeah. World where wrestling is real still hits. Literally.
I'm glad. So, any other thoughts before we move on to, I guess, Alex and then Jesse? Is that how we want to do it?
I guess it works.
I'm cool with that.
All right. Alex, did you have anything on that?
No, not particularly.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You can go when you're ready.
Okay, give me 1 second to get back to my laptop.
Make sure you give context for why you're writing it too.
Yeah. So, friend at my church named Braden, not the Braden that we're all familiar with here, though he is in the Brood, Braeden, Braden Cook. He suggested that I take get involved with a fellowship at a local conservative political action place and called OCPA, Oklahoma Council for Public Affairs. And it's called the Fears Fellowship. It's basically just an intro to conservative political action. And in order to complete the thing, you have to attend 4 out of the 5 lectures and complete a book review. The book review is on a book by Arthur C. Brooks called The Conservative Heart. And so this is that book review. I have 2 versions of it. One made after some short advice given by somebody who's also gone through the Fears Fellowship and said that this may work better for you. So I'm going to read both if you guys are okay with that. The title of the review is The Failure to Conserve.
From Cimarron to cyberspace we roam, seeking to bridge the divide of time to forge a future while honoring home. A digital manifest destiny sublime. In lines of code and verse we'll find a way to honor yesterday in tomorrow's age.
Now sharing Alexander Robertson.
Version 1. The Conservative Heart by Arthur C. Brooks is an interesting relic of a time at once recent and long past. 2015 was a pivotal moment in American politics. The Tea Party had disintegrated, progressives were increasingly radical, and the 800-pound gorilla, which is Donald Trump, was still the laughingstock of late-night television. This book was an attempt to reorient Republican rhetoric along humanistic and majoritarian lines. That this attempt failed is made clear by the state of political discourse a decade after the book's publication. Progressives still hold the rhetorical moral high ground, and conservatives are still seen as heartless number crunchers. I believe that the failure of this book's project was inevitable. As C.S. Lewis said, all that is not eternal is eternally out of date. This book was out of date before it was published, because, though it is called The Conservative Heart, it fails to conserve anything. Early in the introduction, Brooks writes about the unpopularity of conservatives in America's political realm. Specifically, he notes that in spite of the truly remarkable achievements which free markets and free enterprise have given the world, conservatism, which he claims is synonymous with that system, remains unpopular. Millions of Americans, he says, believe that the American dream is no longer within their reach and that conservatives don't care. In the following paragraph, he delivers his diagnosis. This is a crisis of confidence in American exceptionalism. I agree with Brooks that the ailment of America is a lack of faith, confidence being Latin for with faith, but not in American exceptionalism. American exceptionalism is not something in which one ought to have confidence. American exceptionalism is the product of the Christianity and Christian morality of the American people. It is not an intrinsic ontological attribute of the United States in and of itself. Brooks clearly wants to save America's exceptional quality. However, in this book, he just as clearly misunderstands what it is that made America great in the first place. This is what Reed and Matheson meant when they gave their prescient warning. America will be great if America is good. If not, her greatness will vanish away like a morning cloud. The title of his first chapter is The Pursuit of Happiness. Why it is the cultural expression of why it is the central expression of the conservative heart. In this chapter, his thesis is not only wrong, but ought to be completely abhorrent to any true conservative. He says, quote, when conservatives complain about a culture that is increasingly hostile to values like hard work and family formation, they are actually angry that the happiness that comes from those institutions is being denied to the people, the poor and young, who need them most. This is both untrue and dangerous. Rooting the conservative heart in happiness would undoubtedly destroy any power to conserve which the conservative movement might have. If the North Star of the conservative heart is happiness, then the conservative movement will never conserve anything. The old adage is true. He who is a slave to his passions has a cruel master indeed. And this is obviously also true for any social movement, because if our passions are leading us, then we can only be on the road to hell. He speaks of the happiness portfolio, 4 elements of life which increase happiness: faith, family, community, and meaningful work. It is undeniably true that these 4 aspects of a person's life are important factors of happiness, but to view them as means to the end of happiness is absolutely backwards. Why, then, do we think they are important? Because of the Word of God. Why should we have faith? Repent and believe the gospel, Mark 1:15. Why should we pursue family? Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, Psalm 127:3. Why should we be in community, not neglecting to meet together, Hebrews 10:25. Why should we work? 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, Deuteronomy 5:13. These are the words of the Lord. This is the only form of conservatism which will ever succeed, one rooted in the unchangeable will of the Lord God, creator of heaven and earth. Lewis was quoted at the beginning of this review, but the principal point is not solely his. It is straight out of the Bible. In Hebrews 12, Paul iterates that God shakes the heavens and the earth, quote, in order that the things that cannot be shaken may remain. If there is any hope for conservatism, it must conserve the things of God which cannot be shaken. There are some gems of wisdom in this book. In chapter 3, Brooks shows in great detail how honest work restores a man's dignity. The stories are genuinely moving. His point in chapter 6 that any movement that wants to win must have a positive vision for the future rather than simply a list of things they don't like is prescient, historically verifiable, and excellent advice for any group wanting to make a real difference in the world. However, these legitimately worthwhile points are not unique to this book and are undercut by Brooks' ultimately relativistic pursuit of happiness. If this book represents the conservative heart, then I'm not interested. I'll pass. The goal of the Fears Fellowship is to, quote, identify, inspire, and equip young conservative leaders for Oklahoma's future, end quote. I do not believe this book has any place in the materialist for that purpose. It is a relic of the past that was outdated when it was released. Its relativism does nothing to equip young people to conserve anything, and the only part which inspired me were the stories of those given dignity through work in chapter 3, a point which is better made in David Bonson's Full Time. In short, I believe that a text chosen to equip conservatives should actually conserve something. This book does not.
Missed out on the first portion there, but I picked up around on page 2. I don't know exactly what conservative heart is, but I would assume that the main point is that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And you're saying that's stupid. Don't do that.
He's arguing that conservatives, if we want to win, must have all of our conservatives, if they want to win, must base all of their messaging around getting happiness to the most number of people. So he, but before I did the review, I did some Control F in the book, and God is mentioned 9 times by him. Majoritarian values as the basis for the conservative system is mentioned 13 times. He basically just wants to use the beliefs of the majority of the American population as the thing that the conservatives are trying to grab onto to win. As I said, this was written in 2015.
As a fellow citizen, it's like, okay, well, we kind of agree, but only because the Overton window is on my side.
Yeah. So that's the first version. I know that nobody. Brenda. I know that nobody in the Brood has read. I know that nobody in the Brood has read this book. I'm more trying to gauge tone and like syntax, if there's any errors or things that need to be changed. I'm not really. I'm trusting that I did a good job of portraying what the book actually says, that the people who have read the book who will be judging the review see. I'm going for style and tone is what I'm looking for specific critique on.
You're okay. Style and tone, I think you're fine. You're not you're kind of firebrandy, but not super firebrandy. Just minor fire. Little candles. This little light of mine. You know.
I'm gonna let it shine.
But
yeah.
Spear shall be shaken, shield be splintered, a sword day, a red day, ere the sun rises.
Anyway.
Why Duke Nukem for Theoden's speech? No.
It's epic voice guy.
No. Anyway, the only thing, you mostly care about style and tone. To that end, I think you did fine. I need to ask Dad what, because Dad had a thing where he mentioned that the Declaration, they added the pursuit of happiness instead of a different word. I can't remember if
it's the pursuit of property.
Property.
Yeah.
Okay.
John Locke was the first one to formulate life, liberty, and the pursuit of X, and it was life, liberty, and the pursuit of property.
Right, but there was a connection to happiness from property, right? I can't remember where the jump was.
I think it's like whenever you see a kid walking down the street with a lollipop and a propeller hat, like he's happy because he has property in that moment.
That's not.
No. That's actually really close to what Locke was actually arguing, as far as I'm aware.
I mean, it might be.
Yeah, it's a very comedic example, but it's kind of true.
That might be it. I can't remember. So the pursuit of happiness in the Declaration was also like yes, happiness, but it is property. It is fulfillment through that whole thing. I'm not saying that as a counterpoint of you're wrong. I'm just saying that I don't know what the book says. I don't know what he's talking about as far as that is concerned. I think that if the book doesn't address the fulfillment of work through of productive property and stuff like that, like I don't want you to unnecessarily go down that route, right? But in your calculus, as you are adjusting your tone, if you need to provide more of a positivist idea of what to, pursue, rather than just, I don't recommend this book, it might pay to have that in the back of your mind as you're looking for a positivist thing. That's all.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That was in the back of my mind. I
Sure.
Even before I read the book, I knew like you had the Lockean understanding that they were working off of. I don't super take issue with the declaration in and of itself, except that it's a lot more vague than it should be. I think that it should be clearer in what it means whenever it says pursuit of happiness. But that's an issue that I have with basically all of the founding documents, is that they assumed a Christian foundation and didn't write it into the documents itself, and we're suffering now because of it. Because the Christian foundation is completely gone.
Who would have thought that you had to be super, super specific about moral and religious people?
Yeah, it's the girls with the time machine. You're my grandmother. Guys with the time machine. Okay, take the Second Amendment, write it like you're talking to a 2-year-old.
Take the
And they tell you like, oh well, of course we made it incredibly clear. You can have bear arms.
Yes. It's a Boogaloo side quest. Find a grizzly bear, give it an AR-15, completed. Right to arm bears.
Yeah. I was going to say I support the right to keep and arm bears.
There's a whole Homestar Runner thing about where a character starts a charity called Pistols for Pandas, because pandas are dumb, stupid animals and need the ability to protect themselves.
Pandas
Jesse,
are dumb,
I
stupid
apologize
animals.
that I cannot stay up later, but I am going to crash and burn. Please forgive me for not hearing your thing.
Say it in Russian.
Much love, Brendan.
You're good. It'll have to be a conversation for another time. To get into this isn't directly related to the story, but something I'm doing for work and potentially for this project in the future is trying to utilize AI as a workflow to help with things like animating. Because I'm not an animation studio.
Right, with drawings.
Yeah, with training it on real drawings, potentially doing it. Because, good word, I love traditional art so much more. There's a reason why Ghibli has a sense of weight in all of its animation, and AI just won't get that. But I also don't have a studio for Ghibli that I could just ship this to. So it's a means. AI can't replace
y'all can anchor the mad scientist.
It can be a good tool. So.
Yeah, Brendan,
so anyway, that'll have to be a discussion.
Whenever you were reading your story, I was picturing it in the style of Your Name. Like, especially whenever you were saying, like, insert collage or like montage of things happening here very quickly. I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that looks like.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. So. I would like, I did share it with y'all. If you can read it and send me thoughts at some point, I'd appreciate it. But you're all very busy people with very busy lives doing busy people things.
I will definitely read it.
This is literally part of my job at this
reading
point.
John's stuff.
Yeah. So anyhow, I will let you
go to bed, man.
Have a good sleep.
Love you. I do sleep. I sleep good. Oog.
Good sleep.
Has Jesse already read the second version?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Of what?
This
my review
book report.
Oh no! I only had the first version, so I was getting what he was saying along with what was
here. One sec. Let me export and send this.
That was whenever you better showed what conservatives should be fighting for. No. Have you done that? Or you just it's just like a book
think
review.
I tried to do that. You'll have to see if I succeeded.
Gotcha. Because from listening, I'm not sure if I got anything there. It didn't give a good enough alternative. Just principles, and the principles are good. But what do you do whenever you build the foundation?
Yeah.
You build the house.
Yes. And the other thing is that I have 1,000 words to say this. Like, I have a hard limit of 1,000 words. And both of these reviews are exactly 1,000 words.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah, is kind of annoying. But okay, so this is my revised version. The Conservative Heart by Arthur C. Brooks is complicated. It is a relic of a time both recent and long past. In 2015, the year it was published, the Tea Party had disintegrated, progressives were increasingly radical, and the 800-pound gorilla, which is Donald Trump, was still the laughingstock of late-night television. It was a tipping point, one where a well-constructed plan or a strong leader could change the direction of the Republican Party. This work was Brooks' attempt to reframe Republican rhetoric in more humanistic and broadly appealing terms.
Never mind.
It did not succeed.
I was reading the revised version.
You were reading the revised version?
Along with you, yeah. That's what was happening. I just double checked, and it was. That's why I was getting I was reading something slightly different from what you were saying at the time.
Yep.
Likely because you were expounding as well.
I mean, I wasn't. I was just reading through exactly what I had said.
Gotcha.
So yeah, do you want me to keep reading the revised version, or?
Well, basically,
were you not reading the revised version earlier?
The reason to read the revised, yeah.
So I was reading the regular version earlier. Is what I was reading. Failure to conserve.
Why.
Yes.
So in regard to this, the reason you would do it is if you want other people listening to the Broodcast to do it, keep in mind they're going to be waiting through somewhere around 3 hours and 15 minutes at that point to get to your stuff. Yeah. So it's up to you. I'm good either way. I'm here till the end on this. We haven't had this many people in a while. I decided at hour 1, I'm like, this is going to go as long as it's going to go. Because people have stuff they want to share. So, totally up to you. If not, we can move to Jesse. Totally up to you.
I'm just I want to get Jesse's thoughts on the two compared to each other. Because I want to get his feel, especially since you got you gave very interesting critique on the two compared to each other.
Yeah, we were in detail on another episode that people will eventually hear. So,
Yep. So if Jesse
if I get both of them sent, I could probably make a better case.
Both of them are sent.
Oh well, no, you just sent the other one in this chat here.
Yeah. The revised version is the one that I just sent, and then the original one that I asked for critique on in Works in Progress is.
I see it now.
The one that I made the thread is the original, The Failure to Conserve.
Okay, there they are.
Yeah.
Is that in the first paragraph? Is that a Harambe reference?
No. So 800-pound gorilla is a actually well-defined political term in American politics.
It's when an 800-pound gorilla goes into Congress and starts beating the crap out of everybody, right? That's very well defined.
That'd be a lot better. So it's a phrase. It comes from the phrase, "Where does an 800-pound gorilla sit?" Wherever he wants to.
That's a good point.
The 800-pound gorilla sits wherever he wants to, and Donald Trump is the 800-pound gorilla right now. He can sit wherever he wants to. He can do whatever he likes because nobody's going to tell him to not do that because they will just end up dead, politically at least.
Yeah, except Rosie O'Donnell.
No, she just is the 800-pound gorilla.
Quite literally. Anyway.
That's what is it? The classic Steven Crowder line talking about Tess Holliday, the plus-sized model. Her blood type is pudding. Crowder used to be so funny. Did Joshua freeze?
Well, without reading the first one, the revised version, it is it feels like it just leads off with good principles for people to work off of, but it's not necessarily a counter core doctrine or an antithesis.
I'm trying. What I'm trying to do is not necessarily provide an antithesis. I'm trying to, because the assignment from the Fears Fellowship is to give your thoughts about this text. Give your thoughts about this text's value as a text for the Fears Fellowship. And I'm very much just trying to tear it down and say, this is not what this is not what the Fears Fellowship needs, because it's not conservative. It doesn't do anything. It's a purely negative review. I'm not trying to provide a positive vision. I am expanding it out farther. I am expanding it out farther into a Substack article that will have a more positive vision. This is what we need to do instead of this. But this review specifically is, why does this text not work as a text for the Fears Fellowship?
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Then in that case, I think it does that well.
Okay.
But again, I think I missed the first third, and I was going to just skip reading over it.
Do you want to tell them what I said about them? Like the TLDR of what I said?
Yeah, so I read Joshua both of them, and he said that the original version, which is much less edited for tone, I specifically had that one as just my raw, unfiltered thoughts, and gave it to my friend who's also gone through it, and he said, you probably want to tone it down. He said specifically, you might want to edit it to where you come across a little bit more reasonable, is what he said. And so the second version,
there was on some of the earlier English editions of Mein Kampf, there was a woman who reviewed it, and this was all the way back in the 30s, so before war even broke out. And basically her review summed up to he was before ever translating this book to the English language, Hitler had first to grapple or to fight with the German language.
Yes,
basically, she was saying he sucks at writing, and this is terrible. Not even the views, just in general, the way it's written is terrible.
He's just a bad writer.
Yeah, just a bad writer. So basically, your friend was like, tone it back. Comes off as too much.
Yeah, basically that's what he had said. And so the second one, the one that you read, is the revised version that I specifically edited to peel back some of my more gung-ho language. So, yeah.
What did Joshua say?
So he said something super interesting, which is that the unrevised version does a better job of attacking the ideas. Says these ideas are wrong, X, Y, Z. But because I changed the tone and specifically some of the wording around the first and last paragraph, talking about the second paragraph in the revised version is 10 years later, public discourse. I basically say it's irrelevant. This book is a relic of a time long past, which I say in both, but I specifically hone in on that in the second one and say this has no place in our society right now. Times have changed, and there was nothing lasting here to begin with to give it any form of lasting relevance. And he said that comes off as a lot more of a personal attack against people who have hitched their cart to this horse than just saying these ideas are wrong.
Especially when you're challenging an idea.
There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jesse.
No, that was it.
Well, you said not only are they wrong there, and then
out of time.
But, yeah, exactly.
You know, it's
so
like
that was
an out of place idea, right?
Yeah.
Be like somebody opposing the Gutenberg press right now. It's like, down with that. It's like, well, we're way past that, bucko. We don't even print books like that anymore. That's
the last time a book against the Gutenberg press was printed was Neil Postman's "Amusing Ourselves to Death." I like "Amusing Ourselves to Death." I think it's a fantastic book.
I don't, but yeah,
I think it's a great book that gives a lot to think about, and
yes, I will.
Everybody would be better for having read it because you will think harder about the way you interact with the world if you've read it.
So,
gotcha.
Any
add
other
that to the long list?
Any other thoughts for Alex before we get to Jesse's thing as the finale, the grand finale?
I think some of this might have been. Hi, Dante.
Hey, what's up, Dante? Coming in at the very end.
Might have been covered in.
We're not leaving yet.
Rich Lusk's talk at TrinityCon, Birmingham, Alabama, earlier this month. At the very least, I think America will be great if America is good. If not, her greatness will vanish away like a morning cloud. At the very least, I feel like I heard that quote spoken by him. So I think he actually
very common quote.
Yeah, I think he tackled pretty much the same thing that this did. Although it might be a slightly different.
I would love to listen to that. That sounds super great.
Still on the docket to get done. We usually have like a 3 to 6 month turnaround for those, but I'll let you know.
Cool.
So, Jesse, you ready to share your thing?
Yes. I guess I already prefaced it with the AI stuff earlier, but let's see. Get into the headspace for this. So this is nothing. I don't have anything necessarily written out. I have a few outlines, some guidelines, but nothing like rock solid. But this is a world building project that I've been doing for going on about 5 years now. But I do have a few things that are written.
With the lions roaring, songs of praise outpouring, and joyously they take their stand on the arena's bloody sand.
Now sharing Jesse Marsalis.
In the Far East, the Rokian shogunate fends off barbarian tribes from the north, supplied by their long-standing enemy, Iraka. When the shogun dies in battle, the remaining political factions have to scramble for control. The traditionalists want peace, and the modernists want total war. And both parties vie for the empress to choose their nominee. However, there is something else pulling the strings. And they all point back to a dark valley across the sea, in a fiery and evil land where an ancient deity plots his domination of the free peoples.
I like.
Bit of a synopsis of the setting. It doesn't give a lot there. But here we have two, I think I actually have a map that might be a little helpful to visualize this. We have two power players here. Main power players. It is Rokia. This might actually be really difficult to see because I did it in pencil a while back, so that won't work. You have Rokia. Yeah, you have Rokia, and you have Uraka. So Rokia is a Japanese-inspired nation. And Uraka is a sort of Russian Goth inspired region. And in this current setting, they are.
Yeah, he said he needed to jump off.
I guess Alex isn't interested.
And then in this particular setting, they're not fighting Uraka directly. They're fighting a proxy war through a bunch of barbarian tribes that are entering into the northern regions. I'm getting a bit of political stuff, so this isn't necessarily like the plot of the story, or sorry, you know what I mean. Plot, not story. Rokia used to be part of a larger nation, but that dissolved whenever it collapsed, whenever it had a much larger war with Uraka. And kind of both nations, like Uraka settled down for a while and the other nation collapsed. And then Rokia kind of had to piece all the strings together. The shogunate, the shogun, that kind of helped keep everything together whenever the larger nation, umbrella nation, collapsed. Shogun Maguro, which was about 100 or 200 years before. He kept everything together with all of the remaining territories, bringing them together so that they wouldn't die, keeping trade routes between them and establishing a lot of relationships with them. And over the century, he started to make more of a democracy feel. They have a feudalistic system, but they start leaning towards a bit of Western democracy because this guy, Shogun Maguro, is about a quarter elf. So he has extended long life, and so he's been around, and he sees this idea of democracy or these republics. I like this. I think this representation could help incorporated with this feudal system. So it's kind of trying to marry the feudalistic system with a republic. I don't know if there's a name for that. This is kind of just something that's just been worked on for a while. So that's sort of the setting there. There's the two political factions that are at play here now inside of Rokia are the traditionalists and the modernists. Now, this is kind of like the end of the period in the mid to late 1800s in Japan, where they went from feudalism to imperialism.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but it's not like The Last Samurai where they just refuse to use guns or whatever. It's more of the traditionalists want to remain isolated from the one nation in particular to the west of them, on the other side of the sea, that dark valley that was mentioned before, Thulkund. And it was the reason why they isolated is because they had a massive slave trade, and Maguro, the shogun, was vehemently against it. Huge humanitarian crisis. He was somewhat involved in everything that was happening over there, and he was like, I'm out of this. We're cutting them off. And now all of the nations west of Thulkund haven't been coming to Rokia for trade, because it used to be a bustling trade center. And it still is for places south and the remaining territories to the north. But all of the trade to the west has almost been completely cut off, because everybody goes to this place because they have a slave trade, and Rokia doesn't. So why would I go all the way over there? Anyway, so they have an embargo on Thulkund, and it's been kind of messing with them a little bit. They've been getting along fine, but the modernists want that trade to be back open. And many of them have even illegally been trading with them to keep an eye on what advancements have been going on in the West. And in the West, they've started like with firearms. The most modern this gets is about Civil War era. There's no automatic weapons. There's not even bolt actions. There's pike and shot, and there are muskets. But
hand cannons.
Yeah, and hand cannons. Yeah. There will be plenty of flintlock pistols and stuff like that. But basically, yeah. Well, yeah. There's no Rokia. They're very good craftsmen and everything, and they're good with their firearms technology, but they have nowhere near the amount of skill from the past 50 to 80 years that they've kind of been cut off from the far west, because all of these people have been going to Thulgund. So Thulgund is now an industrial powerhouse. It's been innovating all these kinds of technologies specifically for war, and been trading it with a bunch of people. And it's a huge deal. And now the modernists are like, well, if we want war with Uraka, because obviously they're fighting a proxy war with us right now. We want to destroy them, and we think the best way to do that is through Thulgund. Rokia has a powerful navy, but one of the new innovations that Thulgund has is ironclad ships, which are almost impervious to all other things on the ocean. So they're like, we need to side with them. But the traditionalists are like, no, this is a humanitarian crisis. If we get involved with this, it's going to be a problem. I need to flesh out more of the political reasonings and nuances there, because it's not like all modernists are just inherently evil, and it's not like all traditionalists are inherently good. That's not the dividing line there. So for the sake of the story, now that we've gotten a little bit of the world built out there, I've been thinking of this. This kind of really hit me in the past couple months, but I've been thinking of this as like an anime or an animated show with 3 seasons, specifically 3. I don't know. It just felt right for pacing. And the first season, yeah. I guess before I even say that, so there's 3 seasons, but no, I'll say it. Okay, so the first season deals with Rokia specifically, all the feudalistic systems, figuring out like the setting of what is the political drama going on here, and why do they not like the people across the sea, and why do they not like the Urakans. It kind of expounds on that. There will be 3 main characters, 2 guys and a girl. It'll probably follow along a little bit with them showing what it's like growing up in their capital city. And I don't even have names for them, because like that's secondary right now. I'm still building out a bunch of outlines here, but showing what the samurai are like, or what their equivalent of samurai are like in this, how it fits into the feudalistic and republic systems. And one of the characters, not one of the main trio, one of the characters is a candidate for the next shogun. The shogun kind of has candidates that he's like training up to potentially replace him for the future. Now, of course, Maguro here, he's blessed with long life, but something happens about midway through the first season where he goes up north to deal with the barbarian tribes, and he doesn't return, and they figured out that he's been killed in battle. And they're like, this is a big deal. Our shogun just died, and it's likely because of Urakan involvement. They can't prove it, and the only thing that they can really prove is that it's just barbarians. But they're like, we believe the Urakans have supplied them for years for this fight. So now both parties are scrambling to try to get their candidate in place. And the deal with this candidate character is that he's kind of in between traditionalists and modernists. He could be swayed either way, even though he was probably like one of Maguro's favorites, because he would try to consider things. He's also weak-spined, right? He barely has a spine, so He caves into a lot of pressure. He caves into what the consensus is. And it's likely showing up that he's going to be the next one. Now this kind of goes into the Empress role. The Empress is more of the divine ruler, but by this point, like Magdro has been such an effective leader that the previous emperors and current Empress like trust him to manage everything. And they have some types of authority and roles. They declare whatever, but it's less as of late. So towards the end of this season, there's a New Year festival or something along those lines, some kind of festival in which the Empress is assassinated. And they have to escort the princess, her daughter, out. The main characters are like have to sneak her out and run out of the city. And I'm still trying to figure out how this politically works and how it would be turned against the traditionalists, but it would likely be a modernist plot that killed the Empress so that they could get war with Uraka confirmed. So she gets assassinated, and now they have to flee to the countryside. Now there's going to be a big persecution against a lot of the modernist movement. And that would be around the conclusion of season 1. Season 2 deals a lot less with Rokia specifically. There'll be some segments where it shows them in the countryside trying to figure out what to do, but then it's going to deal with a character who's actually living just south of Thulgund in the desert regions, and they're what's called sandweavers. And more, kind of Middle Eastern inspired, but also a bit of specifically Egyptian, like almost an ancient Egyptian empire remnant. And it'll kind of follow along what his perspective on things are, living and being raised underneath this valley. The valley itself, Thulgund, is very Mordor inspired. There's like no getting around it. There is a volcano that spews out fire and lava, and there's a giant fortress, Gurbad, that actually houses the ancient deity that was in the summary or the synopsis or whatever. And it shows like the brutality of this region and how they're able to fuel all their forges with the lava flowing from the volcano, and shows all the infrastructure they have and the religion that they've acquired that's utterly brutal, all sorts of stuff. And that's kind of going. Those are like subplots in season 2. But the biggest point about season 2, and this is what was funny about what you had said, Dante, is that it actually has to do a lot with. It's a swashbuckling adventure, seafaring, all of that, pirates, trade routes, trading companies, blockades, and plenty of rum, all that stuff. And it would be
writing political fantasy.
It's political fantasy. I really like political fantasy, but there are actual subplots and stories of individual characters that I want to make as well. That are all interesting. This is just like the overall, like this is the historical view.
Are you just drawing from? Are you drawing from? I feel like you're just writing of. I'm not entirely committed to this concept, but I feel like you're just writing a fantasy version of Star Wars at this point.
Like the prequels.
Not really,
right? Is what you're
the
thinking.
Prequels, yeah. Prequels, like
that was a blockade. That was a blockade. That's different. No. Trade embargo. This is more almost World War II.
I'm not talking prequels, the prequel trilogy. I'm talking all of the lore of that era.
Yeah, Clone Wars is what he's thinking.
Like, there's a lot of political and economic drama.
I guess, yeah. The deal is, I'm not trying to make the world 100% fleshed out before I make anything on this.
Yeah, that's fair.
But season 3 would actually show, by this point, like they've already declared war on Uraka. Season 3 would show a lot of that conflict. I'm skipping over a lot of big plot points, but I won't even go into like the rest of season 3. The point is, not the point. The big surprising thing is not all of this. About 20% of this, a lot of the setting is derived from a Minecraft server that I played 5 years ago.
Yep.
Is that the one where you built Orthonk or something, and then someone stole it from you?
Yeah. So it's funny, you know. It's like why would that matter? Why would this come from a Minecraft server, right? It's not like Minecraft lore, but it was a larger server for world building that people would play. It was role play, but everybody acted kind of like themselves. And you'd be surprised just the political drama you could get from a Minecraft server. Like it's pretty incredible. You know, somebody burns your house down or kills your dog, and it's like now there's a war that involves like 200 people. Because this server had a player count max of 200 at a time, but it had thousands of players. Close to 10,000. Close to 20,000 at its peak. That would regulate through them and whatnot.
Quick question.
And
what's the age range on your main characters?
Anywhere from 16 to 24.
Okay.
I would think. There would also be time jumps between each season. I'm not sure how long the time jumps would be.
Is this PG-13?
I think
what are we thinking? Like just general? I'm trying to get
at least I would think PG-13 for seasons 1 and 2, but for some sections in season 2, it'd be harder hitting, and for season 3, I don't think it wouldn't be R, just for like excessive violence.
Yeah.
Because the fortress that is in Fulgund is basically like the embodiment of hell on Earth.
Right.
It's awful. I have a bunch of excerpts that I won't read just for sake of time, but I should send you because it invites a lot of this world and shows. Basically, I had this like evil built for a long time. I'm talking above, like outside of this story now. This was before I realized all of these pieces fit together because they were part of the original Minecraft piece.
Right.
The place called Rokia was it was a Japanese inspired nation. Beautiful builds. I joined with a guy who called himself Maguro. He was the shogun at the time. I actually helped build the government system with him because the emperor role and everything was kind of like unused. And then I eventually joined another place called Fulgund and built all the stuff there. Then came back to Rokia and then stopped playing the server. But there was a place called Uraka. All of this stuff, like it's not like any of this is licensed. So I'd have to figure out. Maybe I would need to change some names.
Sure.
Whatever. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But a lot of these ideas are very much inspired. There was a nation called Uraka. Rokia was it was a vassal state, actually, of a larger place called Robinbrook, which was a Norse-themed nation. And Robinbrook did collapse in a war with Uraka. Now, the thing is, the war actually never happened. It was all a political war. We never actually got to meeting swords or anything. But Robinbrook collapsed, and Uraka went into absolute turmoil as soon as that happened because they had a political scramble for their own power. And for the most part, that's the inspiration setting. Everything else in the world, other than that, is directly between me and this friend group that I'm still in contact with to this day, and they know that I'm kind of building this out. One of them specifically, the guy who was with Rokia, the Maguro guy. We've been like tossing this back and forth, and that's how I realized like, oh, this can actually be a thing. This can actually be a story. And it's weird how you get inspired by the craziest things, like a Minecraft server where you play with a bunch of people. You realize like, wait, this could be a really good geopolitical fantasy drama.
Yep. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
It's pretty fun.
The one other thing I'll say, like I said, or like he said, Clone Wars. I'm also getting Avatar. I'm also getting a whole bunch of other stuff that is mixing well. I'm liking the mix. It's not overly derivative in my mind.
Oh no.
So I'm
I would say not as far as plot necessarily goes, but Avatar is kind of like more visual inspiration for some of the art.
Visual inspiration.
That I've been drawing for it.
Yeah, visual inspiration as well as just, and then the Fire Nation attacked. Because there's political stuff in that too. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say another one. Although the politics are nothing like Attack on Titan,
right?
Is one where it's like I love the politics in that show, and I was like, man, I should just get more into this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, sounds exciting.
So inspirations like that helps a little bit of Pirates of the Caribbean for that middle section with
just guidelines. Yeah.
More guidelines really. So yeah, this is something that I've realized, like, I am not a full-blown animator. I can draw. I could technically traditionally draw this as like a comic book or manga or something like that.
We do need to seriously link up and start talking about workflows, you and I, because I've built out some workflows and started stuff and then got pulled down by all the people saying no, blah, 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 stay in your lane,
for what, AI?
Yeah. And so
so that's what I'm building up to. I think I don't have the means to get this to a studio, but guys like Marcus Pittman right now, he's like, hey, I can help with resources on this for people. So this is something I need to build this out with better outlines, because I plan on letting this be like a long-term project, because I have like 3 other stories that I want to be able to tell in some kind of medium. I still have that album that I'm still working on the album.
Good.
But I'm trying to secure a violin player, and I have a couple of options right now, and I'm like, that could maybe work out.
If you have the parts written, I can have a guy here play it really, really well and record it well for you. So just let me know.
If you roll a really high persuasion check, I might be convinced to do piano for you if you're interested.
I already have 2 people who say if you need piano, and it's like, this is folk music.
Okay.
Piano is not.
I mean, if you can somehow, if you can scrounge up a harpsichord, I could probably plink out something on that as well.
That's still not the same.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm well aware. Okay, fine. Keytar.
Oh gosh. That's more
guys,
like it. That's what I want to hear.
We are right at bumping up in less than 7 minutes against 4 hours, which is really getting close to the longest Broodcast. I don't think it is, but it's really close. So I'm gonna need to wrap this.
So I'm good with calling it there. All I'm trying to say is, I think it's possible to use AI as a very good supplementer. Animators have been using AI to supplement between keyframes for years already.
Yes.
So training an AI, getting some kind of stable diffusion, I'm sure all the models now don't have a problem with it. Training it on art that you do make, I do make traditionally here, so that I can have these characters be animated.
Yep.
It does not mean you just type in a prompt for 2 minutes and now you have a whole episode. No, this requires a lot of care, a lot of planning, storyboarding, all of that traditional stuff. And then the AI makes the actual workflow of animating it go like that.
Right.
All the groundwork needs to be laid down, and that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out.
Character sheets,
a couple of years,
the locations, all the rest. Yeah, I'm with you. So we definitely need to get together on that sometime soon. I'm gonna go ahead and head off. I guess I can do an actual send off on this one. Everybody be your family's bard. Do not turn to the right or to the left, and the Lord will be with you wherever you go. We'll see you next time in the trenches on Poets at War.
You too can be a part of Poets at War and the Brood. Just visit joshuadavidling.com/discord to join. We want you, soldier, to be part of the Poets at War family. For more information, visit joshuadavidling.com.